I'm currently writing one thing down that I need for this podcast, but today's going to be...
Tom.
My name.
I'm from New York.
Listen, this is going to be episode 4 of our Dynasty podcast. We have a bunch of things coming at you guys today from us. Guys, go through exactly what we're going to be doing today because I need to write one thing down.
We're talking league formats, pros and
league
cons.
formats, top 10 wide receivers for Dynasty purposes,
Yeah.
and then potentially and probably overrated and underrated fantasy assets. One
We get to it,
each.
cool. If we don't, join us next time. Cliffhanger, possibly.
Wow. I think we'll get to it. I really don't think it'll be...
I don't think so,
Let's
too.
hope we all didn't pick the same player.
That would be hilarious. That would be funny.
Yeah, Hobie Baker's who I had. Anyway.
Why
By the
did
way,
joining Tom in the room. I guess we got Alex.
Hey.
We got Dennis. With the Habs jersey. And,
Big time Canadian here, Dennis.
Oh, don't worry, and Twitch be bussin' is in the chat.
Wow.
Ooh, what's up?
Coming in quick today. Oh, and Mike, don't forget to introduce yourself here.
I know. I opened my drink.
Oh, high noon.
Good evening, everybody.
Big Portnoy guy.
Just so.
I have a quick trivia question. I know I usually do. This one, for you two, or all three of you guys, actually. Since going back to 2000, if anybody in chat knows, feel free to drop it. Going back to 2000, there have been 3 players of the top 10 fantasy seasons of all time. There have been 3 players have done it twice in the top 10. Who are they? Going back to 2000.
All right, say that again. I wasn't listening.
Okay. Going back to 2000, if you take the top 10 Dynasty fantasy football scoring seasons all time, like the top 10 since going back to 2000, 3 players have done it twice. They're on that list twice. Who are those 3 players?
Like a top 10 fantasy season 2 times?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Only 3 players have done that? That seems
Probably.
crazy.
No. Of all time. Like if you take all the fantasy seasons put together, so the highest scoring of all time, of like the top 10 of that, 3 players are on that list twice. Who are
never
they?
mind. I got you. Is Adrian Peterson one of them?
No, he's not even.
I
in
would
the top
say
10.
no. If I was going to
Really?
guess non-quarterback, because most of them are probably going to be quarterbacks just the way fantasy scores.
None of them are quarterbacks.
Oh, so okay. Well, then I'm going LaDainian and Tomlinson.
That's one.
My Twitch chat says Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell is not one of them.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'll give you a hint because you'll get one. You might not get the other because I would have never thought of this guy. They're both running backs, and think farther back.
Maybe Clinton Portis or something.
No, of that era though. Of that era.
Sean Alexander.
Oh.
Damn. I shot my shot, guys.
You said Jamal Lewis?
Jamal.
All right, I'll give you the team for one of them. It's the Rams.
Marshall Falk.
Marshall Falk is correct. The other one is the one I don't think you'll.
Don't tell us. Don't tell us. Okay, hold on.
Hold on.
Okay,
is it maybe Eddie George, or was this too? Is that too far?
No, Eddie George played a little past 2000.
Maybe Curtis Martin.
Oh, no, it wasn't Curtis Martin. It's like an obscure. He's like not obscure. He was really good for like 3 years and like just fell off the face of the earth. This guy. If you want to take another stab at it, I'll give you the team, and I honestly don't even know if that'll help.
Oh, fuck.
He's a running back, obviously.
And you said it's from that era?
Yeah, it's like that mid-2000s.
Fuck, man. It totally fucked me up. I was going to say Arian Foster.
No. No, it's not Arian Foster.
Yeah,
Maurice Jones-Drew?
Oh, what about Chris Johnson?
No, Chris Johnson only did it once.
I'll give you the team. Al, do you have a guess? Do you want to just throw something out there?
My last guess is Priest Holmes.
It's Priest Holmes!
Oh, there we go.
That's right.
He got it. It is Priest Holmes. I would have never thought Because
wanted
Priest Holmes
to-
was
if you
like dominant
said-
for
if
like
you said
3
Chiefs,
years.
that would have gotten me because I was already thinking.
Who
that.
came right
Right.
after him? Was it Larry Johnson right after him? Because the
No,
Chiefs had that run of
right
like good
after
fantasy.
him was Jamal Charles, I thought.
I think Larry Johnson was before Priest Holmes, wasn't
Yeah, I
Really?
thought so. I think when Priest Holmes,
I don't
Jamal
remember.
I think
Charles.
so.
I know Larry
know that,
Johnson's out
actually.
of his mind today, probably from playing football.
He was out of his mind back
But-
then. Like he was like any.
But I thought that was because he was a Penn State guy, right? And then he came out. And I thought he was like in that mid to late 2000. I don't know. Either way,
Hold on, hold
because
on.
I feel like the
Priest
Chiefs had that
Holmes.
run of running backs that were really good for fantasy.
Leo, no, you're right. Larry Johnson was next.
And then
It
And
was
then
Larry
Jamal
Johnson.
Charles.
Then
Okay.
Jamal Charles. Well, it was the mix of Jamal Charles and Thomas Jones. Remember those
yeah.
couple years with Thomas Jones, and then Jamal Charles.
Because Jones went to the Jets after that, and he was still good for them.
he was very good for us.
Yeah. Yep.
Number two
go
on
ahead.
that list just recently happened of all time was Christian McCaffrey 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
2 years ago?
19.
Yeah.
He was hurt last year.
Yeah.
Not
So
bad.
anyway, I thought that was a pretty interesting question.
Priest Holmes, man.
Because I know Priest Holmes did it twice, and I just
Because that was
wasn't- I
almost
didn't
20
know
years
that.
ago. That's insane.
Almost. Yeah, but so where do we want to take this? We could take this a couple ways. Do we want to go right into the top 10? Do we want to go?
Let's save it.
I
'cause
have
feel like-
something else I want to say. I
Say
brought
it,
this
say
up
it.
before, but I wanted to start doing the Not Stupid Podcast question of the week.
Yo.
All right, let's do. Yeah, you
I
know,
don't-
I like that. Let's do that.
I didn't look this one up, so I didn't get a very good question. But I pulled something up. I was just looking on the Dynasty subreddit just to see if there's something coming up, so maybe we can answer that. Someone did ask, who has the better chance of being the Saints wide receiver 2? So now we're going actually Saints wide receiver 2. So Adam Troutman, Alvin Kamara don't count. It's not the
I was
Saints.
just gonna say, can it be
pass
Alvin
catcher.
Kamara?
No. The Saints wide receiver 2. They gave 2 player examples of Marquez Callaway or Traquan Smith, but you can give anyone on the depth chart if you believe there's someone else.
Actually, look
I'm
that
just
up
gonna. I'll
really
start it
quick.
off and say Traquan Smith. Thought he showed a little bit last year, and I honestly think that spot's wide open after Michael Thomas. And to pretty much everyone's point, whoever the wide receiver 2 is probably still going to be 4th or 5th in targets, even. But no, probably 4th. Kamara, Troutman, Thomas, and then whoever the wide receiver 2. I think it's Traquan Smith. I think he's been there. I think he knows the offense. I think he's talented enough to grab the spot. But I don't think it's going to be very relevant for fantasy.
It's not going to be Lil Jordan Humphrey, that's for sure. Not Lil Jordan Humphrey. Yeah, I'm gonna cop out and say Traquan Smith as well. And again, I mean, I guess it kind of almost depends who the quarterback is. Because I mean, if it's Winston, or even if it's Taysom, it might be different because it's not going to be checked down Charlie Breeze. So I mean, if it's Winston, especially, he might just yeet it up, and it could be whoever's in the second row. He could be the wide receiver 2 for the Saints. I don't know that, but I'll say Traquan Smith just because I like him better than Callaway.
I'm with you there too. I've always kind of liked Traquan Smith, and I think Breeze was kind of holding him back. Not being able to throw downfield. Well, he could a little bit, but not consistently enough. Like both, obviously, what we've seen from Jameis, he just decides to throw downfield all the time, and even Taysom Hill was able to throw downfield more consistently than Drew Brees. I mean, it was limited opportunity, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Traquan Smith too. I still think he has the talent. He was a 3rd round pick, I think, a few years ago, where Marquez Callaway, if I remember correctly, is undrafted. So Callaway did show some flashes, but I'm just gonna still resort back to draft capital and a guy that the coaching staff still seems to like enough.
I'll go ahead and disagree with all you guys. I think it's going to be Marquez Callaway, and that's just because I feel like making this putting a little spice in the argument here. I think whether the quarterback's going to be Hill or Winston, I mean, I feel like any receiver outside of Michael Thomas has a legitimate shot to get like a pretty good share of targets. So to me, it's probably going to be Traquan Smith, but you never know. If Callaway takes it, then good for him. If Lil Jordan Humphrey takes it, good for him.
I would still say the odds are that no one takes that spot, as it's been every year, regardless. And it's just
realistically,
you said
Realistically, you said it. It's Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, well, it was too obvious.
I like Troutman a lot too. Actually, I think if you're looking for like a later breakout kind of tight end, I think he's a prime candidate for it.
He's probably a good buy low in Dynasty. I think he probably.
There's a lot of hype on Adam Troutman now. A lot of hype on Adam Troutman.
It's like that for a few tight ends. A few tight ends have a lot of hype right now.
Dayton? Is that Adam Troutman?
Yeah, Dayton. Yep.
That's what I thought. The Flyers, oddly enough. I agree. I like that. Do you have another question, or is that the only one you?
Oh, I can pull up another question.
Yeah, rapid fire this one, dude. Rapid fire.
I kind of like this.
While you're looking,
small talk for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, here I go. I'll do Twitch chat here. I don't even know who Priest Holmes is. That's fair. You probably know.
Oh no,
I'm old.
We're old.
Yeah. Yo, T-Pop, is that your real hair? Shit's bussing. Thank you. It is my real hair.
Bro.
Here it is.
Sick locks, bro.
All right, I got some.
I'm
Steve.
We're gonna stick with the next the same theme here. And before I even do this, I want to go back really quickly and just say whose question was this in Dynasty? Right?
Yeah.
It was Cade Cuminghand.
And we're off the air.
All right. Well, next question. We're gonna stay with the same theme, another wide receiver theme here, and question by ___dragon. He asked, "Who's the wide receiver to own in Indy?" And he gives a couple examples too. Does Ty have another 1 to 3 years of good production with him? Will the rise of Pittman free him up to feast on the deep ball? Can Pittman make the jump to the next level? Will the X Factor Paris Campbell be able to come back with a clean bill of health? There's a lot of questions there.
I'll just take this because I feel I have just immediate. I think Michael Pittman's the guy to want in Indy. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me. I weirdly feel like there's not a lot of value in him, but maybe depending on your league, depending on the owner, he might be buy low just because of the injuries last year. But he showed flashes, man. I think he's a wide receiver 1. Maybe not this year, but next couple years. Like on Indy, not overall.
That's spicy.
Okay.
On Indy.
That's spicy.
Sheesh, relax.
Sheesh.
I actually like Michael Pittman a lot, to be honest with you.
I know Dennis is probably going to say Mike Strachan. Strachan, however you say his name.
Release the Strachan!
I actually am going to say Paris Campbell. I think he's just...
Obviously the French guy, I would say Paris Campbell.
With 2 R's, by the way, so it's
spelled wrong.
Quebecian or Quebecois or whatever. But yeah, I think it's Paris Campbell. I mean, he's had a tough time staying healthy, but none of those injuries are kind of related. They're all just kind of freak injuries. I don't know enough about Pittman, and like I said, I didn't see much that first year. And it could be Pittman, but I think if you get Paris Campbell, clean bill of health, I think he's really gonna. He's just the best athlete I think on the team, except for Jonathan Taylor. So.
What about Mo Cox?
Yeah.
Well, Mo Cox is another guy I actually kind of like for like sleeper wise because Carson Wentz likes throwing to the tight end. So.
I'm actually going to disagree with all you, though, and I'm going to go with this question obviously was more geared for this year, than Dynasty, because obviously in Dynasty you wouldn't pick T.Y. Hilton, but I'm going to go with T.Y. Hilton.
I still think it's Paris Hilton. Oh, fuck me. I still think it's Paris Campbell. That was too funny.
But I'm going to go T.Y. Hilton, because I just think that he'll be able to rebound a bit. Now, again, Phillip Rivers really couldn't throw downfield last year, so T.Y. Hilton wasn't really, in the game plan too much for being a target guy. But I can see Carson Wentz airing out. And we saw some success with Carson Wentz and Deshaun Jackson when Deshaun Jackson was healthy for the Eagles. So I'm gonna say T.Y. Hilton might be able to. I don't think any of these guys are going to be particularly good. But out of the 3 of them, I'm going to say T.Y. Hilton is probably the most valuable for this year.
Who would you rather have on Dynasty? Would you rather have Pittman or Campbell?
At this point, I gotta just take Pittman, man.
I'll take Pittman.
Yeah, if I'm choosing between them, it's not like I dislike Campbell, but I gotta see him stay healthy for me to choose him.
I would just say Campbell because I like what's there. I think he brings a little more to the table, but that's just me. But did you weigh in on this one? I don't think you did, pal.
I started it saying Pittman. And you all scoffed when I said wide receiver 1, but didn't hear me say in Indy.
Would you say he's going to be the overall wide receiver 1 for 10 years to come?
Dynasty wide receiver 1? Oh man, Bruce, these are hot takes, bro. I thought Dom's hair was hot, but jeez.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Tom, it's funny that your hair actually does look like it is like fake hair on top of the hat.
Yeah, I'm looking at myself, and it looks like it's one of those Halloween costumes.
Yeah. Yep.
It looks like one of those '90s like visor hat things you could get. I had like a Giants one that had a mask on it and it had hair too. So, do we have one more question, or is that all we got? Because we could shift it as well.
We got haha Paris Hilton, and then yo, I still hate silver headset boy, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I can give one more question. This is a little bit of a reach here, but
right.
a little bit.
Whatever
This
works.
is asked by Bronton21.
Oh,
Asking about it's just the question. Alex Collins ? Because Collins was working with the first team with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny absent last week. Is DJ Dallas even going to make the team, or am I reading too much into this? Wondering if other free agent running backs might be a better hold than Dallas at this point. So it's kind of a question, I think, more about DJ Dallas than Alex Collins.
I think I think Rashad Penny is the guy to have. Because, I mean, again, the draft capital at him at some point, you just...
I'm just done with I'm done with Rashad Penny. The same way I'm done with Sony Michel.
Just don't care, because then if Carson goes down, they're just going to throw 500 times. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't care. Like, you might get it slip a touchdown in, but, like, DJ Dallas was somebody that's I thought was decent, but, like, they clearly showed you when Carson went down. I mean, if you put a gun to my head, I'd say I think Penny's the guy to have if you want, but I still don't care.
Yeah. I think if you're in a deep, if you're in a deep dynasty league, 27 roster spots plus, if it were me, I would keep DJ Dallas and just hold him. Whatever. If Carson goes down, Penny's always hurt, and no offense to Penny, it's kind of unfortunate, but
Phil's lucky Penny
with DJ Dallas, didn't he have another surgery like 3 days ago?
It was a cleanup procedure on the same knee he tore the ACL like a year and a half ago now.
So cleanup procedure.
Yeah, that's rough, bro. So if I were you, I would hold on to DJ Dallas. Just if you have the roster spots available, see what happens. Dennis was right. If Carson goes down, they're going to throw a million times, but DJ Dallas will probably get just enough for you to be able to spot start him, if anything. Yeah. So,
it's not so much. I kind of don't know so much have an answer to this. It's just like I think a lot of these backup running backs get this hype. Like, well, if this guy goes down, it's like I think there's a lot more situations where if the starter goes down, it's just like a pit of fire. I don't know what word is like. I can't think of the word. Like just a shit show basically for running backs. I don't think anyone on a lot of these teams' backups are worthy, and a lot of these guys get hyped up. Like this guy's asking about Alex Collins just seems silly to me. Like,
it's funny. I heard that on a podcast today. Somebody mentioned Alex Collins too, and I'm like, why is this name?
Because you're grasping at like straws when it's Dynasty. Because you're trying to get this like hidden gem where I can get this guy for nothing, and then he's going to kill it. It's like he's not. Like, he's going to get a couple carries, he'll be on special teams, and then call it a day.
I mean, how many times does Mike Davis happen? You know what I mean? And, like, I think that's just because the offense runs through the running back. Yeah, pretty much.
Right, yeah, especially a team like Seattle.
Once every 5 years at best.
I'm going to pivot here just because this has been eating at me for a little bit. I love everything I read. Who's the next James Robinson? Nobody. Nobody's the next James Robinson. That guy had, like, a 92%, like, on the like target share or it's not gonna happen. Like he almost surpassed Christian McCaffrey. Like it was out of necessity. And when they when they signed him, Leonard Fournette was still on the team. So it's just like it was out of necessity that he was thrust into. Like, did he do really well? But that's just not gonna happen.
Leonard Fournette got cut, and then what's his name? Reichwell Armstead had COVID, and then got complications with COVID later again. So he was just gone the whole time.
And then the other dude got hurt.
Zigbo or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Final Zigbo.
Who was another undrafted or 7th round guy, So it's not like he had any.
Mike, you actually invested heavily in our league, didn't you? In Ozigbo?
I mean, a few dollars.
Heavily.
heavily.
I thought you threw like $30 on him.
Probably still less than what Anthony just spent on Mark Ingram.
Why? What did Anthony
spend on Mark Ingram?
$12.
Boy.
I sent out offers.
That backfield is a crapshoot.
It's still David Johnson until it's not. You know?
Right, but after
everyone
that,
else, it's just not all of them are going to make the team. That's the thing.
Don't they have Philip Lindsay now?
I wouldn't be surprised if
Philip Lindsay.
I think Philip Lindsay might get
cut,
which would be good.
Or Rex Burkhead.
Rex Burkhead does different stuff than Philip Lindsay. Rex Burkhead is like the pass catching guy, and they don't really have that. Like David Johnson can pass catch, but he's not like a pass catching guy, you know.
Well, since Anthony got Mark Ingram, I hope they cut Mark Ingram.
It was just funny because I was offering Mark Ingram away to like a couple teams for $3, and nobody was taking it before I dropped him. So Anthony could have got him for cheaper than what he just paid.
Actually, the funny thing is, if you offered a trade to Anthony for anything, he probably would have rejected it anyway, just because he's scared to make trades sometimes, and then he would have just had to pick him up for $12 in the future.
Makes sense. That never happens. So, all right, you want to talk about league structure now? You want to do that, or
let's pivot, dude?
Now, all right, let's pivot. Hard left, hard right, stage left, stage right. So interestingly, I wanted to bring this up just in general, what everybody thought about like certain leagues and stuff. I actually heard something today, and it was about Ultraflex. I think that was the league you were talking to us last week, Al, about. Now, I'm going to start there because that's just such a crazy concept. Does that work for Dynasty is the question I have to ask. And let me just break it down for people who don't know. Ultraflex it's a league where there's really no positional. You have to start a quarterback.
You don't have to start anything.
You don't have to start anything.
There's 2 super flex spots, so there's a max of 2 quarterbacks, and then the rest are all flexes.
Right, okay. So then, like you said, you can start a super flex. You can start 2 quarterbacks if you want, and then the rest, all positional need. Sometimes it's a tight end premium just so those guys get involved. Now, the question I ask, does that work for Dynasty? Does that work? And Al, since I think you're a little more familiar with it, you want to?
I mean, I think anything. I think anything can work for Dynasty. If that's like your question, I don't think it's gonna make it so that it's not possible. Like, it'll just change the strategy. You know, maybe it'll make it that you don't. I think the one thing I think it will do is just there'll be less trading, because there's times when you're like someone in the league is like Tom just trading for Nick Chubb. I don't think Tom would have traded 3 firsts for Nick Chubb because he didn't need a running back. You know, you can just start his million wide receivers and be okay. So that's the one thing, but I still think it would work for Dynasty. You know, it gives more flexibility to how you want to build your team. You might there's still the need for quarterback because you're still going to want to start 2 quarterbacks every week. So.
Yeah.
Bruce, where are you at on that? Same question, sort of.
I don't know. It might knock trading down a bit. I think it would eliminate the maybe needless trades of like, I have all this depth, so let me just get assets for it because I'm never going to start this person. I think it would eliminate those kind of trades. But you could also argue the other way, I suppose, of I have all these guys, like I could just trade anybody and it doesn't matter. So I guess I don't know. I think any argument with this you can kind of make and con of sort of the same argument counterpoint for anything. Like I don't know. I think maybe it would make roster lineup decisions tougher. Of like, I really have to weigh now. You're really looking at matchups more. Do I start wide receivers, running backs? Like, I think that would make it tougher when you don't have positions because now you have 30 roster spots. You're like, I can start any of these 30 guys, not like a handful of like, all right, I have 6 running backs and 7 receivers. I think it would make it tougher in that spot.
Thom, how about you? Something you're into, or something you're just kind of meh on?
It's actually pretty intriguing. I never really did a lot of research on this structure of league. I do, however, think it's something where if you're going to make that decision with this structure, you need to have that as your startup structure. Like, you wouldn't be able to have a super flex dynasty league and then transfer it over to something like that. I don't think it'll work. Too many teams would get screwed over.
Most dynasty formats are like that, where it's too hard to change it once it's already been started.
I agree, but actually, it's pretty intriguing. I like a lot of things about it. I think in regards, if you like trading and stuff like that, I do think it might hinder that a little bit, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think it's actually pretty cool. I prefer more of the structure of like a Superflex Dynasty League.
I think I do too.
But I do think it's pretty cool, and it has its moments.
I think, and again, I think you guys are all touching on some really good points here. To echo mostly all of your guys' sentiment, could it work for Dynasty? Yes. I think personally, that's a better idea for redraft, because I kind of think that there's more strategy to the draft than actually once you're done drafting. I mean, setting the lineups every week is going to be tough, obviously, but I think the draft is huge because you want to slam the quarterbacks early. And then at that point, it's who do you value the most, as opposed to, well, I need a running back now. Let me get one of these tight ends and things like that. So personally, I would love to do a redraft league like that, or even maybe like a keeper league. Like, I think that would work too. Maybe keeper's that sweet spot, because again, I think the fun part of Dynasty as a whole is the trading. And again, like if you don't need a running back, there's not as much need. You just need better players, and people are going to be less willing to give them up because there's no like surplus, unless there's like a huge surplus of something. So again, could it work? Yeah, I can agree with all you guys, but I think redraft or keeper might be a better format for that. So let me pivot to
Before you pivot to anything, I want to apologize to Anthony, because Bruce actually spent $16 on Divine Ozigbo, so more than what Anthony spent on Mark Ingram. Yeah, Bruce, you were all about this guy. You picked him up in September, you dropped him in October, you picked him up again in December, you dropped him again in later December.
Bruce's favorite son. I'm surprised Rocco's name isn't Divine, actually, at this point. All right. Anyway, so now I'm going to pivot. I'm going to continue that full follow-through on the motion. Something I just got into, kind of dipped my toe into, is Devi. Again, for those of you who are with us who don't know what Devi is, it is a Dynasty League, but you can look into the future, and depending on what the rules are, you can draft either mostly college players. I mean, I've heard of leagues where you can draft out of high school. Not really something I'm into, but I would say it's interesting. So I'd like to get you guys' thoughts on that, if it's something you're interested in or not. So Al, take that away. What do you think about Devi as a whole?
Oh, then I'm going to put a little bit of a downer, but I'm just not, personally, I'm not as big into it. One, I don't think I watch enough college football and I don't have the time to watch enough college football to really keep up the way I would want to, the way that I am for a regular Dynasty League. I have the time to watch all the NFL games and, pay attention to what's going on in the news and be on Twitter a bunch to see that. But for college, it's just that there's so much more to it. The player pool is larger. Obviously, it's like a lot of it's consolidated to these major schools. It's just how college football is nowadays. But I still don't even think I could keep track of everything. And then that's the one thing, is the time commitment for that for me. But then the other thing is there's just massive, massive swings in value in Devi, where like a guy is really good his freshman year and then just does nothing the rest of his career and then ends up getting drafted in the 7th round of the NFL draft when we all thought he was going to be a first-round pick, and now he's not worth shit. There's stuff like that. And then also there's just guys that come out of nowhere, like Joe Burrow, where it's like, I don't think really there was anybody on Joe Burrow, and then all of a sudden he blows up and is the #1 overall pick in the draft. It's just like those massive swings. It's just like, it's very unpredictable, and I think it adds more luck than anything. Obviously, like the being able to like keep up with everything is going to put you ahead of others in that league, but that's the same as Dynasty too. So there's more information for regular Dynasty available to everybody, the average person nowadays. I think there's not really an edge in regular Dynasty, but you could probably still get that edge in Devi a little bit, but I still think that the luck factor is massive because of those swings, value swings.
Bruce, what about you? Devi, college?
I'm personally a big fan of the rookie draft, but more so the value that those picks bring. So if you start drafting all these college players before they get to the pros, I think in terms of trading in a Dynasty League, which it still is, and it's called a Debbie League, but you still have professional players. It's not like it's like a college fantasy league. I think the value, and I'm seeing that now because I'm in one league where it's not Debbie players, but you get a Debbie school. But obviously someone has Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and so on. So that's dropping, I think in this year, like 10 or so players, at least on offense, are off the board automatically in the first round. Like I think the number one overall pick is going to be like Trey Lance, just because. I mean, obviously in a Debbie School league, you're not picking North Dakota State. Weird, I know.
Oh,
Quarterback hotbed.
But I mean,
Easton Stick.
But it's not that I'm not a fan of it. I mean, if that's something you're into, but personally, I like the rookie draft and I like those picks. I just think it mostly devalues the pick. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it hurts trade value in leagues. Maybe you have to be more creative with trades, but I ultimately, at the end of the day, that first round pick, if the number one overall pick ends up being a guy that should be late first, early second, it kind of dilutes the value. So it makes those assets mean way less, which clearly we've seen just in our league. Those first rounders can be gold sometimes.
And yeah, I have nothing against it either. It's just I love all the Devi people that are around because I get all my information from them when I need to be doing research for the rookie draft. So.
And I think you were telling me someone took Spencer Rattler over, and I just thought it was nuts to take somebody like Spencer Rattler over like any of the quarterbacks in the league now that are good, or any of the rookies this year. Like I think something like that is crazy.
Yeah, I'll get into that a little bit, but I want to hear what Thom's got to say on it. I know he's a big college football fan. Yeah. By the way, before you start, I did take DeMarcus Bowman as my last Devi, so just need you to know that.
Thanks.
5-star running back.
That's a big time, Finney. Let me just speak about this real quick. I'll keep it simple, all right?
Brother, preach.
I think Devi's I think it's cool. I think it's really, really cool. I also think in order to have like a healthy Devi league, you're going to need 12 guys that watch and pay attention and study college football way more than the NFL, because you're going to be studying hundreds of college teams as opposed to 32 NFL teams where you know all the players already. So I think you need 12, like a collective group of 12 people that are really, 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 really into Saturday football. If you don't have that, I don't think it's going to be that fun, to be honest with you. Obviously, you got your headline guys that everyone's going to go for in drafts. Your Spencer Radlers, your big-time quarterbacks, all that. But, I feel that the success in Devi leagues comes from the non-Power 5 running backs and the low Power 5 wide receivers and, those kind of like sneaky picks. So I just think it's a lot. And if you don't have a group that's willing to put in that work, I don't think it's going to be that fun, because you're going to get a couple crazy powerhouse teams and then a couple crazy bottom teams that have no shot to compete.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, for different reasons.
Right. So, something you'd be into, or no? Not really.
I'd be open to it, but again, only under those circumstances.
All right. So I guess I'm the only one with Devi experience. I only joined the league because it was free. We'll see how long it'll go. The group has talked about making it like a $25, $50 buy-in, depending on how the league goes. I like college football. I would say I'm a fan, mostly of the Buckeyes, but I still watch all the big games. It was intriguing to me because, like you said, Bruce, the thing I want to touch on is he was like, I thought it was crazy that you drafted Spencer Rattler before da-da-da-da. But I think right after that with the next pick, I took DJU, which in 2 years could be the 1-1. And, you've got to weigh. I like the idea of having to weigh the value of, okay, so Kirk Cousins is here, who I know what he is. He's an average middle-of-the-road quarterback, or I could swing on somebody like Spencer Rattler or DJU. Yes, you're kicking the can down the road, but I do like that. Later on, it got to the point, this is what I liked about it, was later on down the line with the draft, when it's like gets to like those really, really like, are we still doing this type of players, when it's like, oh cool, like I'm gonna take Tim Tebow here, or like there's just like, ooh, Wayne Gallman's available. You're kind of looking up, be like, okay, so who's a 5-star recruit at Alabama that I can maybe take a swing on? What little research can I do? I like that. I think it's cool. We'll see where it goes. It's a lot of time, but you know what? The guys and the girl that I'm in the league with seem pretty into it, so I actually kind of like it. So we'll see where it goes, and we'll see if the league stays together. But it's free, so it's just a quick dip in the toe. But I like the idea of it. So
would you have preferred like a Devi draft separate to the startup draft. Like, here's my whole team. All right, now let's focus on Devi and have like a 4-rounder. Like what? Oh yeah, what's the max Devi players are even allowed, or is there even a limit?
It's 8 per team. It's a 12-team league,
Okay.
so it's deep. Like I have 3 5-star freshmen who haven't even seen the field. Two for Alabama and one for. Oh, 2 for Alabama, and then I have a transfer to Florida, DeMarcus Bowman, who's a 5-star running back, who's supposed to be the heir apparent to Travis Etienne. But you just take. I like the idea of now like having these like 8 guys that I can look at and be like, oh, how did they do on Saturday? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna try to go super crazy with it. If I was paying for like $200, I would. But the idea of the Devi draft on its own, I don't like, because I like the idea of weighing the value against like proven commodities or current rookies in the league now. And I think there was a lot of strategy to it, because I think everybody was waiting for the first Devi to get taken, and then the guy took Bijan Robinson, and then I took Breece Hall because I think Breece Hall is going to be a fantastic player. So,
My
I
favorite
think
guy
it's cool.
actually is, for a couple things I know, my favorite guy is probably Tank Bigsby in 23 out of all the running backs
For
available. Yeah,
Bijan? That's
yeah. I get like the year, like you're going to get, well, Robinson's 23 too, right? Or is he 22?
Bijan is 23.
Okay, yeah, I do. I like Tank
Breece
Bigsby.
Hall is 22.
Yes, that's what it is. Okay. It's Isaiah Spiller that's 22. But one guy I do know
Isaiah
that you
Spiller's
should keep an eye on.
23.
I'm sure no one took him, but the kid that Alabama has at QB as a freshman, it's obviously like Bryce Young. It's Bryce. No, it's Bryce Young's job now. That's not who I'm talking about. Jalen Milroe. You should keep an eye on him. He's like the classic like running can run a dual threat quarterback. So for fantasy purposes, that's a good guy to keep an eye on. Just keep that note. I'm sure no one took him.
All right, fair. Is he in college now?
Yeah.
Is he committed?
He's
Okay.
he's an incoming freshman.
I'm maxed on Devies anyway, so yeah,
It's
I
not
think
worth it
those
try
are
to pick him now, but just keep
How does
an
it
eye on
work? How does it work year to year? Is there a Devi draft every year, or like how do you then?
It'll just be a rookie draft. So like I could take, let's say, that's why you said like, oh, the rookie draft's not great, because then you have the incoming class of freshmen. So Quinn Ewers, who's 5-star recruit quarterback going to Ohio State, who's the highest rated recruit to Ohio State in history.
Mullet.
He's a sick mullet too,
Yeah.
from Texas.
The Archman.
Guys like that.
Sweepstake is going to be fun.
So then they're grouped in with your rookie draft then.
And then there's gonna be people like this year, for instance, like Zach Wilson. I would highly doubt that like people had Zach Wilson, and then if they did, then they hit a home run because they're like, you know what, I like this guy, blah 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 blah. Right. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But
all right,
I'm gonna end that there because I'm not gonna talk about like a standard Dynasty league. I think that's pretty obvious. But those are two kind of cool iterations. Maybe Ultra Flex for a redraft, I think, would be cool. Thom, do you want to check the chat, see how chat is, how we doing, or
not much? There's not too much. I mean, we got again, Silver Headset Boy can't speak, bro.
Or Twitch be busting's a clown, but he's in the chat, so appreciate it.
We got to preach T-Pop. I guess when I said my Devi statement. Other than that, we're pretty squared away.
All right, cool. All right, so I'll leave it up to you guys. As we're gonna pivot here, we're gonna do another pivot, hard left turn. Do we want to go? I think underrated, overrated might not take as long, and then wrap it up with the top 10. How does that sound? Sound good?
Yeah, that.
Would you rather go the opposite way? Sound good? Okay. So we're gonna pivot. As always, see how many times I can say pivot in the next 5 minutes.
How many hard lefts are we taking here?
Yeah, are we gonna pivot?
Right. We basically just like 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 rights make a left is all I need to know. So, so we're right back to where we started. So now I'm going to pivot again, and now we're going to do our overrated and underrated Dynasty assets. So again, overrated, somebody you just look at, you go, I don't really agree. I don't think they're worth that much. Underrated, you go, man, that's a good deal. That's good value there. All together, just players all together in general, and this is for Dynasty purposes. So I'm gonna let the man who hosts us, because this was his idea, I'm gonna let him take it away. We'll start with underrated, because I feel like overrated is a little more spicy. We'll say that for the end.
Yeah, we'll start with underrated. That's fine. So what I'm going to do here, guys, I'm going to name my player, just give a couple quick tidbits on why I feel the way I feel. For my underrated player, this, by the way, is everybody in the NFL. It could be rookies. It could be veterans of 15 years, right? So for my pick, I picked Darnell Mooney, wide receiver from the Chicago Bears. Currently, he is the 142nd player off the board in Superflex Dynasty leagues. I think that's a steal pick for a couple of reasons. The main reason is Chicago is going to have a new quarterback, a rookie quarterback that will eventually go in, whether it's 3 games, 6 games, whatever, he's going to play. So that gives Mooney a chance to really develop a connection with a new quarterback. And also, there's really, besides Allen Robinson, there's really no options in Chicago. I mean, there's a couple options here and there, but I think Mooney has a pretty good shot to get a nice target share. So I think for the 142nd player, or whatever round that is, the 11th round, the end of the 11th, I think that's a pretty good deal for a potential wide receiver 2 on the Bears.
All right, that's not a bad pick. Bruce, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Jalen Reagor. I know, say what you want about the Hurts, Hurts being the quarterback and running, but there's still targets to be had. You have obviously Devonta Smith's probably going to be the automatic number 1 receiver. You're probably going to see Zach Ertz traded. Deshaun Jackson's gone. On J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, I don't know if he's going to make a comeback and kind of boost his value, but I see Jalen Reagor grabbing that number 2 wide receiver spot, and kind of for the same reasons as Tom said. I think the targets are just there, and overall his ADP is at 178. So again, to kind of piggyback off Tom's statement of just the value of the overall pick, I think Rager's pretty underrated just based on that alone. For a guy who, again, like Tom said, might be the wide receiver 2 on a team. He's going to get targets. He's going to get his chances.
Right. Al, for you?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Austin Eckler. He's going off the board, 44th overall player in Superflex Dynasty ADP, but running back 17, which I think is pretty low. I get that he's 26 now, but he also only has like 600 career touches as opposed to, the guy going at running back 16, Zeke, who has 1,600. So it's like, I don't worry as much about Eckler being 26 as opposed to some other guys that might be 26 that have gotten a large workload. But I think that's really late for a guy for the amount of points he puts up. If you take out that weird Week 1 game that Tyrod Taylor had, and then you take out the game that he got hurt in, which was pretty early, he was averaging 19.5 points per week, at least in our league settings, which is pretty, standard full PPR. But that would have been the running back 10 on the season, and now also Joe Lombardi, the passing game coordinator, I think it was passing game coordinator, from the offense, from the Saints, is now the offensive coordinator on the Chargers. Mm-hmm. So that guy used Kamara that way, so I think he's going to try, and he's kind of commented saying he wants to do the exact same thing with Eckler. He's not going to be the classic 20 rushes a game guy, but that's not what Kamara is either. So, when I'm seeing some of these guys like Kamara go at running back 5 overall, and then see Eckler at running back 17, and they're pretty much the same age, I think that Eckler should be way close to the top for dynasty purposes. Some of these guys are also going there.
All right. Yeah. I think with that, just a quick aside, I think people just get blinded by the fact that he's not like an every down back, but like he's so efficient.
You don't need to be.
He does too.
We see that with Kamara. We see that with Nick Chubb. These guys don't need to be every down backs to be dominant. So
underrated, and this isn't like a whoa. This is super underrated, but I think OBJ is actually being slightly underrated because of the injury. I'm just looking at Fantasy Pros ranking and just like an overall Superflex ranking. They have him as the 82nd ranked player and the wide receiver 32, and I feel like that is far too low. I know last year before he got hurt against the Cowboys, he went off for like 44 points in our standard league of, just like you said, just PPR. And if you look in this ranking, I mean, obviously it's just like a simple ranking, but like he's around guys like Deebo Samuel. He's slightly above Tyler Lockett. I would take Odell Beckham way, way higher than that. And I know that that's a very run-heavy offense, but I don't know. I feel like he's being very undervalued because of the injury. Obviously, he's a bit older, but I mean, he's shown you he can be dominant when he's on the field. So that's just how. No, I think he's being a little underrated there. So just
you want to jump in with the chat here?
Yeah, I kind of.
Let me pull it up. Twitch, boom. All right. Oh, we got Mooney blows. Sorry, thank you for that. Rager is so bad, bro. Eckler is a beast, no cap. LOL. Bro, OBJ a belly dancing boat boy. Dude is trash, bro. I'd take Kelvin Benjamin over him.
Alright, take it back. I kind of like
in a belly dancing contest, I'm absolutely going to take Kelvin Benjamin over OBJ. So you're absolutely correct on that one. So,
do you think Beckham stays on the Browns long term? Not to kind of cut away, but I mean, the offense looked better when he was out. So I don't know if that's what he does.
I honestly thought that he was going to be gone before this season.
I feel like we've said that every year.
I think he'll be there still.
I don't even mean this year. I just mean like.
I think Landry will be gone. So I think they don't really have anything else. So I could see him just getting a long-term contract because that's their best option.
Agree with that. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones will be the wide receiver 1. All of fantasy. All right, so overrated. Now this is the spicy Texas Pete, if you will, of it. So Thom, I know you got something for me.
Yeah, listen, you already know I like to bring the spice when it comes to this type of stuff. But I truly do believe this, and I do have a couple examples and facts to back it up. My overrated player is Saquon Barkley. Okay, currently. I'll tell you why. Currently. I know I'm talking to a couple Giants fans and a Falcons fan. Look.
I agree with you. So you're not going to upset me.
Look, he's being drafted right now in Superflex Dynasty as the RB number 2 and the 5th overall pick. Okay? That's a lot for someone who didn't even play last season. I wrote down here if he's drafted as RB2 and he finishes like RB10 or 12, everyone's going to consider him bust. A couple years ago, David Johnson was drafted as the RB2, finished the RB10, and you would think that he murdered somebody because everyone was calling him a bust. Everyone wanted his head, and he only really dropped 8 spots from 2 to 10. It's really still an RB1. But everyone saw him as a bust. So I can't see a world, really, where Barkley could live up to the RB2 hype this season, especially with that bullshit line that the Giants have. So that's my piece. I said my piece.
Right. Because I don't think we're all going to necessarily agree totally. Bruce, I will let you counter that. What do you think?
I mean, regarding Barkley, if your argument is he's just not a top 3 running back and he's overrated because he's being drafted in the top 5, then I agree. But I still think there's production to be had, and I think there's running back 1 value in him. But sure, maybe as a dynasty asset, he isn't worth a top 5 pick, especially with the injuries. But I don't agree for this year. I mean, the production's going to be there. I know they have receivers, but Barkley's probably not going to come off the field if he stays healthy. So he's going to he's going to finish as a running back 1. So I don't think taking him in the top 5 is this insane reach.
All right, Al, what about you? You agree with him spot on or not even close?
I think I'm kind of in the middle of what both of you made a point. Maybe I'm a little closer to Tom because I also agree that he is a little too high. And I think we did the running back rankings a couple weeks ago, right? I had Barkley at running back 5. So running back 2, yeah, I think that's pretty high, but I'd still put him at running back 5 for Dynasty. I'm like I said, I think I'm a little bit in the middle of you too, but I get both arguments.
I'm just gonna throw this into the air because it's just I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think people are drafting Barkley so high because of the talent, because it's undeniable when he's on, and 2 because of what he could be if he's healthy, because he's going to be an every down back for the Giants. Do I agree he's probably not the RB2 and he shouldn't be? I'd probably agree. I think I'd probably have him at I think I had him at 2, but again, it's on the hope of him being there. But I wouldn't take him that high. I would probably try to stay away from him. So I agree with that. The offensive line comment. I agree that the Giants' offensive line is not great. But you would also agree that the Jaguars' offensive line is not great either, correct?
I think
James Robinson was
it's better than the Giants.
very disagree. But I would either way. So even if they're the same, they're both equally shitty. James Robinson did pretty well as a fantasy asset, correct?
Yeah, he did.
How about Dalvin Cook? That Minnesota Vikings line is not very good.
Yeah, he did well.
So again, I think the talent will overcome something like that. But I do like the point.
PFF ranks the Giants' offensive line as dead last, though. So I wouldn't say that the Jaguars or Vikings have the worst offensive line in the league.
That's not true. The Chargers are after them. I'm looking at it right here.
I have it right here. It came out 2 weeks ago. New York Giants, number 32.
Oh, from 2 weeks ago? I looked up for 2020.
Yeah, I was looking at the coming into 2021.
But either way, so all those teams that I mentioned are bottom 5, and you still had two very, especially Dalvin Cook was very fantasy relevant. So I really agree with your point, though, of he's going to disappoint where he is, and I do agree with that. So yes, I like that point as well.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm not saying for the record, I think he's going to be really fantasy relevant this year. I just don't know if RB2 is where he's going to end up. Again, if you draft him at RB2 and he finishes at RB10, think about it. Are you gonna be pissed off? You probably will.
He'll probably get traded in our league if that happens.
Yeah, probably.
I was just tied it up.
Oh. All right, I'm done with mine now. Go ahead, Bruce.
Here's what the Islanders, all we care about is have it down.
That's true. Bruce, you.
So now I was having a tough time finding an overrated player, but if I have to pick someone, I'm probably gonna say Clyde Edwards-Helaire based on his current ADP, which is mid-second. If now he has the potential to
I have
be a
early
top 5.
fourth, just so you know.
I mean, I'm reading right now 20 pick ADP 21 to 22.
Yeah,
That's where I'm reading.
38th.
Then
June
Jesus,
2021 Superflex ADP.
I got one just as current from Fantasy Pros, so I don't know. But if you're drafting him to be like a running back 1, I think you're taking a risk taking him that high. I mean, again, if he needs to improve his goal line work. I know the offensive line's better. Maybe that gives him a push with the Chiefs getting guys, and I know the guys returning. But I don't know. The goal line needed work, and I think they just have more guys there. Damian Williams back because he's not gone.
No, he's gone.
He's gone. That's right. But
it's Darrell Williams and Jerick McKinnon.
That's it, McKinnon. I'm just not. I wasn't the biggest.
McKinnon, the huge problem for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Not problem, but I just think to take him as your running back 1, I just don't see it. So
that's like whatever.
What's whatever? I said
Jerick McKinnon is not a threat at all.
Not even that he's a threat if anyone's going to take touches, or if his goal line work doesn't improve.
You can say that about any running back in the league. And also, that's such an overreaction to the week 1. Everyone has that week 1 where he tried like 5 times to get in the end zone when the offensive line. No one, unless you were Derrick Henry, was going to get past what that offensive line was blocking. So
for running back 1, me personally, I just don't see it.
I agree with Mike. I do.
I don't think he's being drafted. I don't have him being drafted as a running back 1. I think that's the big thing.
I would just want a piece of that offense because you're just going on the upside there. I wouldn't even overdraft. I would overdraft a guy. I would overdraft a guy like that. So, Al, who do you got now?
I think mine's pretty chalky. To be honest, I think mine's pretty chalky. To be honest, I was also trying to struggle to find an overrated guy, but I did have Jalen Hurts going as QB 13 in Dynasty. I get picking him high this year. But for a guy that doesn't really have the job security, I think the Eagles are going to be pretty bad again, so they're probably going to be in a prime position to draft a replacement there. So I can't pick a quarterback that high up with, he was only a 2nd round pick, so it's not like, and I think he was a mid-2nd round pick, so it's not even like they had insane draft capital on him, and that's the reason why they want to keep him around. He's got a pretty tough division defensively. I know the Cowboys are not good, but the Giants and Washington are both very good defenses, so that's going to cause problems for 4 games of the year. And I just don't know with the new coaching staff what they're going to do with him. It wasn't Sirianni, it wasn't his pick, so I just there's too many red flags there for me to be drafting a quarterback 32nd overall in Superflex QB 13. There's just guys below him. I'd rather have Tua. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. I'd rather have Ryan Tannehill. All these guys have way more security if I'm picking these guys at the start. But I just can't take Jalen Hurts at QB 13.
I think to your point that even if you take Hurts that early, I mean, I agree he should be a little bit later than QB 13. But even if you take him and the Eagles want to move on, I think he's in a prime spot to get another starting job right away. If the Eagles want to pass, I think another team will bring him on right away, and he'll start. So I still think he's a very good dynasty asset, even if it doesn't work out in Philly.
I just don't think he's that good. Like
I didn't like him as
he
a
can
prospect
run.
either. Yeah.
I just don't think he's a good thrower. I mean, obviously he can make up for it, and that's relevant to fantasy. Like you could be a bad quarter. I mean, Josh Allen before last year was essentially just not a great quarterback, but a good fantasy asset. But I agree. I would definitely take Baker over him as well. So mine again. I really struggled to find an overrated player here as well, but. There's context to this, and it's not like a huge overrated, but I think Allen Robinson is where I'm at, and it's only because the volatility of that quarterback position. Because if it's Justin Fields, if you look historical data and trends, it's the rookie quarterbacks. It just does not bode well for some of these fantasy guys, and down the line. Is Allen Robinson going to be fine? Yes, of course. And this is more so just me looking for it this year. But like, I took him pretty high in this startup I just did, and then I like thought about it and I was like, man, I don't really. Dalton is what he is, but if it's Justin Fields, I mean, I don't know. And I just again, not really somebody that I think is like a really terrible player because he's a really good player. He's really good last year with. Trubisky, but it's just the rookie quarterback thing really scares me away from him, especially how high he's going. So I don't know if you guys.
Personally, I think Dalton and Fields are an upgrade over Mitch Trubisky, and I guess and Nick Foles. I suppose he was starting last year as well. And again, I think with Chicago, I mean, you also look at Allen Robinson and see. I believe he's on a franchise tag this year, so he's probably. I doubt they re-sign him. So I think going forward as an asset, I think he's going to land in a new spot and be just fine. And I think he's going to be just fine this year. I think, what round did you say you took him in startup?
I don't have it right in front of me. I could find it though. If you want.
I mean, but I think if you take him in the 4th or 5th round, I don't think that's crazy for a guy like that. He's still super talented, and I think he's been in bad quarterback situations his whole career between Jacksonville and Chicago, and he still put up some pretty damn good numbers. So I think he's one of those guys that could be quarterback proof, regardless of who's throwing the ball. He's going to get you numbers. I don't think he's obviously you're not taking him in the I don't think you're taking him as like a top 10, but once he slips into that 4th, 5th round area, he's a solid pick. I don't necessarily think he's overrated.
Well, I see both of your points. I do see both of your points. However, I definitely understand Dennis. I definitely know where you're coming from. Just being scared of the different quarterback situation again. Transferring, again, you got to understand Andy Dalton's going to start the season most likely, and then he's going to have to get used to Dalton, right? And then they're going to bring in Fields, and then he's going to have to get used to Fields. And if Fields isn't great to start off with, you're definitely going to see that reflect in Allen Robinson's numbers. So I do understand that. To Mike's point, I personally agree with you where you said he's quarterback proof. I mean, the dude's had Blake Bortles, despite Blake Bortles being great. He's had Mitch Trubisky. That's a rough combination, dude. And he still put up crazy wide receiver 1 numbers. So I don't know. I guess it's if you're willing to take the risk or not.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's more just like he might not, again, like you said with Barkley, he might not live up to that ADP. Like he'll probably be still a good player, but if you really like him and you're taking him a little higher than you should, you might be disappointed. And I think JJ Zachariason said it. Shout out to him because he's great. But he said that usually with the rookie quarterbacks, the running backs see an uptick, obviously. But the wide receiver usually is one guy, and even still, it's like a bit of a step down. And I think that probably is gonna be Robinson, but like, I don't like Tom said, I don't like the fact that it's 2 different quarterbacks, and then the rookie comes off the bench. So that usually just is not like a successful for scoring or even just winning. So in the short term. So yeah, so that's all I got on that. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm glad I saved the overrated section for the end. I thought that was a little bit better than the underrated section because we're all just kind of like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, the guy's a little
It's underrated. I mean, what are you debating? You're talking about.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty good. I just want to say this is probably going to end up on YouTube, so like, comment, subscribe, whoever's watching this. We appreciate the support. Look out for our other videos. We have a long podcast, and we break up into segments and post it on YouTube. So if you're seeing this, go to the channel. You'll probably see other ones as well. Thank you for the support. We're out. Okay, keep going.
All right, but we're still here, so don't.
Yeah.
All right, that was too meta for everybody here at Twitch. All right, we'll pivot to the last thing we have today, unless something comes out of the blue, which it often does. Top 10 Dynasty wide receiver assets as we see them. Ours are probably, hopefully, going to be similar, unless there's some spicy takes from Texas Pete himself down there, which has been known to happen. But I think we will all hopefully have the same guys. Maybe the rankings will be different. So I don't think I've started with Al yet today with anything. So
no, you started with something. I don't remember what it was now, but
doesn't matter. I said it, and now it's going to happen. So
right, you didn't start anything.
Dynasty wide receiver.
Dynasty wide receiver. Going 1 to 10 or counting down?
We'll count 10 to 1. So the worst one we have.
I like that.
And then because we did the opposite we did the inverse for.
Yeah, I think it mattered more for running backs because I think the top.
A little more.
Everyone knew Christian McCaffrey was going to be number 1 pretty much. There's more there's more suspense with wide receivers. Number 10. Number 10 for my top 10 Dynasty wide receiver rankings. I have Calvin Ridley there. I don't know. See, now I don't know how I'm supposed to be arguing this because am I supposed to be saying is 10 low or is 10? Am I supposed to say why he's at 10?
I mean,
I'm calling an audible. Calling an audible. Let's just do it for 1 down because I think that's a little bit better. Because
no, we already started with 10. We already started with 10.
You know what? I'm calling another or hot route. We're going hot route here. All right. So
6.
Why do you have Ridley so low?
There you go. See, that's the question I need. I need someone. I just personally comparing him to some of the other people on the list. It's really nothing against Ridley. Like everything is so close there. It's just I think some of these other players are elite players, and I think Ridley's like a very, very good wide receiver, but I wouldn't consider him an elite talent like some of these other guys. And I do like that he's obviously going to get production, and that's what I mean. Like the difference between my like wide receiver 4 and wide receiver 10 really isn't that much on this list. So, but it's really just that some of these other players I just think are elite talents, and I'd rather have them.
All right, I agree. Just for all you guys, real quick, yes or no. Give me a simple yes or no here. Do you think Julio being gone helps or hurts Ridley? It's not really a yes or no question, is it? But do you think it hurts him? Do you think it hurts him?
I think it's almost negligible, but I mean, based on historical stats, I think it helps Ridley that Julio's not there.
Okay. I think it's gonna hurt him.
I think it's both. I think it help. The targets are going to be there for Ridley, and it's going to hurt because we've seen him when Julio's been out. We've seen Ridley still put up numbers, but just not be this. I get. I love Ridley, but I get Alex's point of just not being elite because he doesn't seem to step up and be that elite.
He's very, very good, but it's just I wouldn't call him, the same level of talent as some of these other guys.
And we discussed maybe with Kyle Pitts around, maybe that opens up more space because you're going to have to guard him if he's on the field. So maybe it just becomes like a move.
I actually think it's going to uptick it, but ever so slightly. So I will actually go to myself here, and I have Ridley at 10 for the same exact reason.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, for the same exact reason. But like I said, I haven't seen it yet, so who knows? Who knows what the target share is going to be with Pitts there? But again, I still think he's a really good wide receiver, and you definitely want to own him in that offense. So, Bruce, who do you got?
Terry McLaurin at 10.
That was my number 11. I was trying to decide who I want him in.
Same. I couldn't do it.
His numbers have only improved. He in his rookie year, 58 catches, 919, 7 touchdowns. 2020, 87 catches, 1,118 yards. Touchdowns dropped off, but they really spread the ball around in that offense. Plus, with the emergence of Antonio Gibson and Alex Smith just dumping off to J.D. McKissick all day, probably hurt the touchdown numbers a little bit. But listen, on a team like that, he's far and away the wide receiver number 1. And with Ryan Fitzpatrick coming in, it probably improves the quarterback play, even if he's only going to play, his typical half a season before they decide to play anyone else, whether it's like Taylor Heineke or Kyle Allen again. I don't know what Washington's really going to do. But if Washington's good, maybe you see Fitzpatrick the whole season, so McLaurin's got a chance to be high-end number one. But for Dynasty asset,
well, you don't think Antonio Gandy Golden is the wide receiver one on that team?
You own, I think. Yeah.
I do. No.
All right, Thom, who you got at 10?
Well, this is kind of weird. I have Terry McLaurin at number 10.
Oh.
I think that's appropriate ranking.
Yeah, same reasons for Mike. I had Calvin Ridley, just so you guys know, as my 12th ranking.
Still a wide receiver one.
So.
There's going to be a spicy take in there from Texas Pete. I just have a feeling. All right.
I don't know, man. I don't think there is.
We'll see. All right, so number 9. Al?
Number 9, I went with Jamar Chase, and this was another kind of difficult one for me to figure out the order here. But number 5 overall pick, we saw in college how good he was in LSU. He put up better numbers than Justin Jefferson. We just saw what Justin Jefferson did in the NFL. So I think most people would agree that Jamar Chase was the better prospect than Jefferson. Now, obviously, it's going to be hard to be better than what he did. I don't think that's going to happen. But maybe in his whole career, I could see Chase. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that he's a better career than Justin Jefferson at all. So, just a guy like that, I think he's a very good player. I like the fact that he's on Cincinnati, their pass-heavy offense. I don't think that Zach Taylor is going anywhere just based on the way that the Bengals organization keeps their coaches around. So we could see that be there for a long time. And even if Zach Taylor does go away, he'll be tied up with Joe Burrow, who was his college quarterback too, and who he dominated with. So, and I don't think there's many players too that could have opted out of the season and still been a top 5 pick. So that's another thing that I think everyone knows how good he is.
The best thing I heard about Chase one time, and I forgot who I told it to, was somebody's like, well, what makes Chase so great? And they compared it to Sidney Crosby, and they said he just does everything really well. And it's very interesting to see that. I'm very curious to see how his career goes. At 9, I have DeAndre Hopkins. A bit of on the older side, oldest player I have on this list, but still just best hands in the game. Just still. Even though he just seems to not run any routes deeper than 10 yards in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, he's still just so electric, so explosive. And I know he's older, but give me.
And just to kind of hit on that, we talked about QB-proof wide receivers. That guy's had a corpse for most of his career.
Who you got there, Bruce?
At 9, I have Michael Thomas. I think he slips a little bit for me, obviously based on his maybe year or two ago. He's easy top 5, if not top, 2 probably. But regardless of age, injury, whatever, I think, especially this year with Drew Brees gone, he's going to be a safety blanket for whomever's starting, whether it's Winston or Hill. And again, slot guy like that, quick routes, quick down the field. That's how he gets his yards. That's how he gets his touchdowns. Solid fantasy guy. He's at 9 for me.
Oh, me? Sorry.
Oh, there it is. Oh, jeez. I thought.
Hey, what's up? You guys broke up on me. I'm assuming it's my turn.
Yeah.
At number 9.
Perfect. My number 9 is DeAndre Hopkins. I agree with you, Dennis. I'm pretty sure he's the oldest guy I have in this list as well. Dude's great. I hate Cliff Kingsbury. That's why he's number 9.
Yeah, I think Cliff Kingsbury had Patrick Mahomes and did not have a winning record in college. Anyway,
that is insane.
Al, number 8, Al.
Number 8, I'm going with Stephon Diggs. And I just think that this is going to be the same argument for a lot of these guys that are coming up on my list, but just the production is there. He's still, 27, 28, somewhere right around that age. Still has years left in him. Clearly the best option there in Buffalo for Josh Allen. He's tied to a young quarterback. If I'm in a startup, I'm taking Diggs over some of these other guys that are there because I feel like it's just for sure I know what I'm getting.
One of the rare instances of a wide receiver gaining value at 27, I think he is. How old he is. So that just shows how good of a year he has, and hopefully going towards the future. except for not in our league. Number 8, I have Michael Thomas. I think he, by this time next year, depending on who the quarterback is also going to be up this list a little bit. He had that high ankle injury this year, and he just never was 100%. And he's been pretty effective even without Drew Brees. So, and to piggyback what you said, yeah, he runs the slant routes really effective, but he also has some of the deepest route run depth of target in the league. So he's up there. I don't remember what number it is. So he's not just
doubting that ability, just a lot of it. Especially,
I think he's probably top 3 route runner in the league. It's tough. It's really hard to measure that, but I think he's a little undervalued this year. But where he is this year, coming off last season, it's tough to go any higher than number 8. So Bruce, to you, to the 8.
I think we have similar. DeAndre Hopkins at 8, kind of same reasons that were touched on. I already brought up the QB proof stuff. He's an elite receiver. He's just getting older. Same reasons.
Perfect.
Tommy?
Yeah. My number 8, Stephon Diggs. I agree with Alex pretty much completely on his analysis. Only knock on him is he's starting to get to his late 20s, but that's not even a knock on a wide receiver.
So am I, pal. So am I. Just kidding. I'm almost 30. Say that. Anyway, so we'll go number 7, Al. Lucky number 7.
This is going to be easy. I have DeAndre Hopkins. I have nothing to add to everyone else's points.
Yeah, let's see. I have Diggs. Again, same thing. I'm not going to do it. I think it's crazy that he rose this later in his career. So, like Jesus, for instance. Bruce.
So at 7, I have Justin Jefferson. I think after a solid year, number 7, Justin Jefferson. Yes. I just think listen, number 7. Again, I think the difference on the list. Everybody on this list is still a wide receiver 1, and that's what I think Justin Jefferson is. Before I throw him up into the top, if he repeats it, I'd like to see that. I know he's still awesome. He's still number 7 is a great receiver, but there's still a couple guys I'd rather have over him, even in a startup.
All right, now that I just heard from Cholula, I'm gonna kick it down to Texas Pete himself.
Number 7, I have Jamar Chase at number 7. I'm riding the upside on Jamar Chase. I know he hasn't really played a game yet, but as Alex said before, NFL teams must know something to draft him as high as he got drafted without even playing a game in 2020. So, and I thought he was a sick talent in 2019. So I'm going to ride the coattails of that and put him at 7.
All right. Where are we now? 6. I'll take it from here.
Number 6 is CeeDee Lamb. I liked what I saw with his first 4.5 games with Dak, and then after Dak, we've said this a couple times. It's hard to really analyze anything with Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci throwing the ball. So I like what's there. He's 22 years old. I think he could be taking over the number 1 job there in Dallas sooner rather than later. Maybe this year Cooper is still better, but by better, I think it would be pretty close anyway. So I really like the talent. I liked him as a prospect coming out. I know in our league he got drafted number 2 overall, and I at the time didn't have any arguments. Oh, number 2 overall in the rookie draft, and I didn't have any arguments for that pick. So maybe it's not the guy I would have taken there, but it's still like I said, I didn't mind that pick at all. So I clearly like the player.
Yeah, good route runner, but really good after the catch. Actually, is what I think the big thing with him is. So for 6, I have Devontae Adams here, and if I knew Aaron Rodgers was going to be here, and I know Devontae Adams is kind of quarterback proof, but Devontae Adams is so valuable because of Aaron Rodgers, and who knows what that quarterback situation is going to be. Shout out to Blake Bortles, or who knows what Jordan Love is going to be. Do I want him, and is he a wide receiver 1? Absolutely. And if Aaron Rodgers says, tonight, he automatically, probably for me, it becomes wide receiver 1 for Dynasty for me. But because of that volatility at the quarterback position, I gotta keep him at 6. Bruce?
I have Calvin Ridley at 6. I think the numbers he puts up are still top-level wide receiver 1, even as a football player, he's not an elite. I think for fantasy, he's awesome. Everything we touched on when you guys had him at 10, I like him a little more, so I have him at 6. And
Right.
can we check the chat? Because Twitch be bussin' kind of contradicting himself. I hate silver headset boy. I'd rather take Thomas Jefferson. So you're shitting on me for putting Justin Jefferson on a list, but you hate Justin Jefferson.
Listen, just real quick, for everyone that's watching this on YouTube, we are also streaming this on Twitch. There's one guy in particular on this stream here that really does not like Mike. Mike has a silver headset. So anyone that's watching this on YouTube, show Mike some love, some support. He's not getting it on Twitch, guys.
Ah, man. Whatever, bro. We can have Twitch be busting on. I'd love to hear some of his
Oh,
takes.
he is a LA Chargers fan. So
I mean, all right. That's cool.
they play in the soccer.
So come on, bro. Let's chat one day instead of your shitty comments.
Yeah, 1v1 man shipment, bro.
One more thing
Anyway.
I wanted to say about Calvin really quick. I think the reason why I had him probably lower at 10 is because I do think that the Falcons are going to throw less. So that's the only thing that worries me comparatively. Like I said, the difference between my wide receiver 4 and wide receiver 10 really isn't much, but that's probably the one tiebreaker for me. Is I think the volume might come down overall for that team. And I just don't know how that's going to play out. Maybe he has a massive market share that it doesn't matter, but.
One last thing to Twitch be busting. If you don't like that I had Jefferson at 7, I feel like you'll be even more disappointed with everyone else. But move on.
Anyway, Thom, I don't think I got 6 from you. Or did I?
My number 6 is CeeDee Lamb. Thank you, Alex, for making so I don't have to say that much. CeeDee Lamb, same reason as Alex. Number 6.
We are now into the top 5. Al, take it away, pal.
I mean, there's not much to say because you already named him, but Devontae Adams, I have at number 5. I think same thing. I have him down at 5 because there's the off chance. I think Rodgers is back, but there is the off chance that Rodgers isn't there. But even if he was, I think I'd only move Adams up to number 3 on my list. So
Really?
just because of the age compared to some of the other guys, that's the only
Fair enough.
only difference there. But 3 is he's no slouch for being at number 3. So, but yeah, number 5. I'll take the production all day, and I think even without Rodgers, he's still going to be good. He'll still be a wide receiver 1. He just probably won't be the wide receiver 1 on the year without Rodgers there.
At 5, I have CeeDee Lamb. Just basically the same things I said about 5 minutes ago. Just really great route runner, really good quarterback, and just a monster after with the yak. So you gotta take that and take it and run. Bruce, 5.
Devontae Adams at 5. Same reasons. But again, I kind of have him there no matter what. I just think there's players at this point for Dynasty I would rather have. But I mean, Adams still. Again, top 5 that's a top wide receiver 1, and I don't think the quarterback matters. I think Adams is a top 5 receiver regardless, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love. I personally don't think it matters. Oh, and for what it's worth, I know everyone said CeeDee Lamb. I had CeeDee Lamb at 11. I just want to see a full season with Dak before putting him up at the top. I know we looked good after 4 games, but it's just
I don't fault you for that.
my shitty take probably. I'll check the comments.
I guess it's my turn. My turn for number 5 here.
Yes.
I'm going Tyreek Hill at number 5. I love Tyreek Hill's production. I do. I like the Chiefs' offense. I do. There are just 4 receivers that I really, really want ahead of him. So, top 5, in my opinion. I mean, now we're just picking teeth. I mean, you could really choose any of these guys, in my opinion, for dynasty purposes.
Yeah, which one of your teeth are your favorite?
I'm a big front teeth guy, man.
I've always been a molars man myself. Clearly, by looking at me.
Big for
I'm a
meat
big
eaters.
wisdom tooth kind of guy.
Wow. That's crazy.
Oh, no canine here. Fairly not. All right, so we are in 4. Number 4. Who you have?
Number 4. I have Tyreek Hill. He's the highest ranked, I would say, seasoned veteran wide receiver on the list for me. I'll just take the guys tied to Patrick Mahomes and the Andy Reid Chiefs offense. With the amount of points he puts up, he can win you a week by himself. And I think maybe Devontae Adams is the only other, guy that really can win the week by himself for you. But I think even Tyreek Hill has a higher, game-to-game ceiling than Devontae Adams even has.
Was that one ridiculous game he had this year, like 200-something yards?
Right.
It was like
64 points.
It could be like 3 plays, and he just goes up. Yeah, but the one thing is, there's some off-field stuff that Twitch be bussin' agrees with that might keep him a little lower on the list for some people.
What?
I actually, when I did this list, I have also Tyreek Hill at 4, and I thought you guys were going to kill me for having him that low. But now I actually feel like a little validated in that. My thing with him is obviously the off the field stuff like that could happen at any point because he's not a great guy. You can quote me on that. And then the thing I worry about with him is the injury. Because the speed is his main thing. Obviously, he's not a terrible route runner, but he's just so explosive. I worry with him, he'll fall off a cliff. Like, he'll just, like, one of these days just might fall off a cliff. Like, because if he doesn't have that explosiveness, I don't think he's as effective. He's not like an elite route runner like all these guys we've mentioned here. And if you're relying mostly on that, I mean, obviously for now, and he's attached to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Jesus Christ, like you said, 64 points, he could win it for you alone. But and he's a bit older. I think that's for me. That's the big thing is I worry about when Father Time will catch up to him because it will. It's just a matter of when. And I think within the next 2 years, I think you're going to see it.
I agree with you that speed guys, you know, that you have to worry more about that. I think just the one difference is being on the Chiefs for him is what separates him from other speed guys. Like, even if he does get slower, he's still a contested catch guy. And I think Patrick Mahomes will put the ball in the perfect place for him where he'll still be very productive. Maybe he won't be the week winning wide receiver anymore, but I still think he's going to be productive for a decent amount of time compared to like other speed guys that fall off, as we've seen a lot.
Right, like, I'm sorry, just like, but the one thing is like he's so effective because he's just so much faster and so much more explosive than he makes these guys in the NFL look like they're standing still. And that's the thing is I wonder what he'll look like when he's just fast. You know what I mean?
One thing is Deshaun Jackson is still like just as fast as he's always been too, but he gets injured. So I guess that I think more it's probably your other point more if he can avoid getting injured is the bigger thing than just slowing down for him.
Bruce, my bad. 4.
Oh, it's all good. So at 4, I have AJ Brown. I like what I've seen going forward, and I know he's broken out already, but I think this is the year where no injuries, Ryan Tannehill, solid offense again, I think blows up even more this year. And then I think after this year, I think you might see him up at like the QB wide receiver 1.
That would be impressive.
Hey,
making the transition.
Hey, Kendall Hinton tried it. Why not?
Right. Thom rounding out number 4.
My number 4 is DK Metcalf.
Okay.
He still has Russell Wilson. He's still going to get a lot of volume. I think he's proven me wrong. He could catch almost anything that's thrown to him. He could also drop almost anything that's thrown to him. But I just like Metcalf. I like his situation. Obviously, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he's going to get the passes. So I like him at 4. And he's young as shit. So
3.
Yeah, this is where you're really splitting hairs here. I have DK Metcalf at number 3. The only reason why I'm at 3 below 2 other guys is I just think he's a little less refined of a receiver as the other 2 guys. But, I mean, they're all in the same tier for me. So it's picking teeth there on who you want.
At 3, I have AJ Brown. I like the player a lot. And if Julio didn't go there, I would probably have him at 1. But Julio did go there. And I just think it's going to be good and it's going to be bad. But there's 2 guys I just like just a smidge more because of circumstances. Because the thing at the end of the day, Derrick Henry is still there. And as long as Derrick Henry's there, he's going to take away touchdowns. So still very effective, still great wide receiver. Bruce, who do you got?
Number 3, I have Stephon Diggs all the way up at 3, man. I love the guy. I still think he's productive for the next 5 years. If he's tied with Josh Allen, I don't see him leaving. They're obviously going to work out a deal with Josh Allen, and I think they'll just find a way to keep him there no matter what. Everyone else they'll replace if they have to, but I think Diggs and Allen are the especially offense, and then the rest they'll just figure it out. But Stephon Diggs, man, I couldn't trade him before last season for 1 first-round pick. Nobody would do it, and I'm glad that no one took the trade because he was my easy wide receiver 1, and I would just take him high even in a startup now.
Before I go to you, Thom, I just want to ask your opinion on this, Bruce. Do you think it gets better, or do you think this is as good as it gets for Diggs last year?
I mean, I think it's as good as it gets, but I mean, that's still a pretty goddamn good season. I mean, it's hard to top that. considering how he was, how just iffy he was in Minnesota. He wasn't trustworthy as a fantasy, and now he's a solid set it and forget it wide receiver one, like no doubt. Like I think his worst game, I think, was that weird Kansas City game, but he still put up numbers in that, and he's good for like 10 catches a game. I almost think he can turn into like that Keenan Allen type, where even at 30 in 3 years, I still think you can look at him at this top wide receiver. Maybe not as high on this list, probably down in 3 years' time, but
Keenan Allen is not 30, but
sorry, 29.
29. All right. So for number 3, who do you got there, Thom?
Yeah, I have Devontae Adams at number 3. I mean, he's just proven that he's really, 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 really consistent. Look, I'm kind of basing this off of if he has Rodgers. If he doesn't have Rodgers, he'll fall a few spots, but he'll still be probably in my top 6. Probably around 6. But yeah, so I'm putting Adams at 3 because as of today, Aaron Rodgers is the starting quarterback for the Packers.
Anyway, number, where are we at, 2?
2, yes. It's to me, number 2.
Dennis is shook because the Islanders won.
Number 2, I have Justin Jefferson. Just had the best rookie season of all time for a wide receiver. His other competition on the field, Adam Thielen, is getting older now, and he's one of these guys that I think probably falls off pretty soon comparatively. I never thought he was like an elite talent like some of the other guys that are able to play more into their mid-30s. And I just think clear number 1 wide receiver. He'll probably, the quarterback situation is a little murky, but I don't even know if Kirk Cousins is like the best thing for him. I just think being able to put up those numbers with Kirk Cousins, it could get even better. So I just 22 years old, Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 2 for me.
Yeah, 2. I also have Justin Jefferson for putting up the best rookie season for a rookie since Randy Moss is nothing to blink at. Who knows if it goes up from there? I think it probably will at least maintain, similar to what Bruce said about Diggs. And also having that type of production across from Adam Thielen, who was he a wide receiver 1? He had to be at least wide receiver 2, right?
14 touchdowns, so he's probably up there.
Yeah, because it's exactly it. He's the right, and having Dalvin Cook, it'd basically be the focal point of that offense. So I think he's pretty much invaluable as an asset right now, as opposed to some other guys. Obviously, everybody on this list is great, but just to see that rookie season, and sky's the limit. So, Bruce, who you got it to?
I have Tyreek Hill, and I kind of said the same thing about Diggs. I think Kansas City will find a way to keep him tied into that offense with Mahomes. I think they'll go out and replace every other player on that offense, but they'll find a way to keep Hill on that team for as long as they can, for as long as he's productive, which I still think is another, at least 3-4 years. And maybe, I don't know, and I didn't bring this up because I knew I was going to say Hill. Is he a guy that could be coachable to maybe run better routes if the speed ever drops off, just to extend his career and extend himself as a weapon for Kansas City past that if speed drops off point?
I just think what makes Hill so valuable is that you can put him anywhere because you're not going to, he's smaller, so you're not going to bump and run him. You're not going to press him because he's just going to burn you right off the top because he's going to get out of it. And then underneath, that's what makes him so effective. The thing I worry about is if he loses that step, you're either a good route runner or you're kind of not at this point in your career. Like a guy like Keenan Allen is a perfect example. Like you said, he's 29, allegedly, I think, is probably the best route runner in the league. I would say that's up for debate, but I think Keenan Allen is probably the best route runner in the league. And he can do things like that. He doesn't have to rely on the speed. And I think at this point in his career, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't see it. So, Thom, 2.
Yeah, my number 2, I'm going with A.J. Brown, Tennessee Titans wide receiver. Again, A.J. Brown's proven that he's like a really, really good wide receiver. The second best wide receiver for Dynasty, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I don't really know what there is to say about A.J. Brown. I think he's proven it. So, I will say, with Julio Jones going to Tennessee, for me, at least in the next, because they're going to have Julio Jones for another 3 years probably. I think it hurts A.J. Brown a little bit, but he's still going to be a crazy good wide receiver. And then once Julio Jones is gone, it's Brown's offense for sure. if it isn't Brown's offense now.
You, Bruce and Al, do you think it's more about Julio, or do you think it's more about Henry that kind of maybe takes away a little bit of the value?
I think it's be more balanced now that Arthur Smith is gone. So, I mean, I'm gonna make my argument out of it. That's all I'll do. That's all I'll say for now.
I mean, I'll argue that you could I started Ridley and Julio Jones on the same fantasy team. I think you could do the same if you have AJ Brown and Julio. I think they'll both be just as effective and potentially both wide receiver ones if they're both healthy. Potentially, I know Derrick Henry might cut into that, but you start both of those guys if you have them.
Right, of course.
I don't think you have to worry about is one guy. I think you start them both and just don't worry about it.
Al, number one.
I intentionally held back some comments because my number one receiver in Dynasty is AJ Brown.
Yeah. I realized after I asked you that, I just knew. I was like, I should just ask Bruce. I'm sorry. I'm having a crisis over here. Okay, I'm sorry.
He was my wide receiver one before Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith left. He was my wide receiver one after that before Julio. He's still my wide receiver one with Julio there because the numbers he's putting up on, the 3 seasons, 52 targets, 70 targets, 73, or not targets, receptions, 52 receptions, 70 receptions, 73 receptions. I don't think Julio is going to make him get less than 73 receptions. So at worst, it's more of the same, which was 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns on a season that he was playing through incredible pain in both of his knees. So I just think...
Wait, did Dan Campbell have anything to do with that?
He might have, to be honest. So
that's so
I just think also to compare, like Mike was just saying, you could start both Julio and Calvin Ridley when they were in Atlanta. You could start both Julio and AJ Brown easily, and I think AJ Brown's a more talented receiver than Calvin Ridley is. So I could see even more than what Calvin Ridley was doing, especially with Julio. I don't know the last time he's played a fully healthy season. So AJ Brown will be there well after Julio, and he'll be there well after Derrick Henry too. And then just to add on to that last point, I think they're going to be more balanced throughout the regular season to be able to save Derrick Henry so that he could go off in the playoffs and be that dominant force then instead of being a little tired later. So I just I like what there is to come. 23 years old, plenty of time.
All right, I want to spend a little time on our number ones. I think they've earned that. Al, I will ask you this. Do you think, I know Julio is a Hall of Famer. He, no doubt in my mind. I don't think there's a doubt in anybody's mind. Do you think that it's Julio who dictates the front end coverage, or it's Henry, or do you think it's Brown, or even in just as wide receiver, who do you think gets the double coverage there, or can you? Is it even possible?
You can't double cover anyone because if you're double covering somebody, then the other guy's going to burn you, or if you're trying to guard both of them, then Derrick Henry, you're not stacking the box for Derrick Henry, so you just can't. I don't think you could focus on one guy. Maybe you could get like the Bill Belichick game where he takes away one guy, and I would think between all of that he'd probably take away Derrick Henry and just force it to be Ryan Tannehill and Ryan Tannehill to prove that he can do it. So I mean, but I just don't think most teams are going to be able to hone in on stopping one guy. So it's really just whoever can be the most efficient, and we've seen at least the two Titans players before be incredibly efficient. So I assume Julio will get less targets too and be more efficient than he was in Atlanta.
All right, yeah, no, fair. Mine's is Metcalf, and I think it's less to do with the player and more about the situation. Pretty much all of last year, they were just hucking the ball up. And I think that's probably what's going to wind up happening again, because essentially, like we touched on earlier, is if Carson goes down, they're just going to throw it because they don't have a viable option. That offensive line is shaky at best, and I just think that the volume is going to be there. I mean, last year he was double covered every play, still wide receiver one, because Tyler Lockett had, was it a knee or an ankle? I can't remember what it was, but Tyler Lockett was playing on one leg essentially. And I know Tyler Lockett's a great player, but I just think if these guys, the amount of times they're more than likely going to throw it. Not to mention that the guy's an absolute freak of nature. Like, human beings should not be able to do the things that this guy does. Again, I just think the volume is absolutely paramount, and it's the physicality, the speed, the route running. I think it's just all there with them, and not to mention the fact that he's got a great quarterback too. So, Bruce, who is your numero uno, my friend?
It is also DK Metcalf.
Interesting. Why is that, pal?
So I guess my main thing is I know Tyler Lockett's not gone, but is there a factor where they start to phase him out and maybe not give him as many targets? They drafted Dwayne Eskridge pretty high. I forget what was it.
They just
second
re-signed
round?
Lockett.
They did. How long though? Because I thought they were going to start to maybe he just gets less
4-year
targets.
contract. He's on the first year of his 4-year contract this
Oh
year.
yeah,
So.
they could probably cut him after some, but I see a point
It's in
where
2024 they could cut him, and they still would have 14 million in dead cap. They would just save 9 million then instead
Makes
of being
sense.
negative.
That makes sense. I still see a factor where they do start to maybe not eliminate him, but maybe face him down a little. Because the fantasy thing with them was, I feel like every other week, maybe you couldn't almost rely on both. Like Lockett put up a couple goose eggs, but I feel like there was also games where he exploded and Metcalf didn't do anything. But I think that's going to change going forward. I can see Lockett maybe having less work overall, and Metcalf finally maybe being this guy showing how good he is. And just again, if you're going to chuck the ball up, Metcalf will grab it because he can burn everything. I know we all see that highlight of him sprinting down the field, making that touchdown saving, tackle on the interception. I guess he's still my number one, but let Russ cook, man, right?
Yeah, no, I
He's my
agree
number
with
one.
that.
He's so good. The speed. It's. I mean, I know you said situation. It's just the player for me. The speed's so good, and like you mentioned, the double coverage, and he's still a wide receiver one. Yeah, he'd be one of the first receivers I'd take.
Who is numero uno?
My number one is Justin Jefferson. The dude was it the best rookie season or the second best rookie season? Yeah, so he had the best rookie season ever. I think Adam Thielen's going downhill. Could be going downhill relatively quickly. Dalvin Cook is still a main character there, but it's a great compliment for Jefferson. In my opinion, I really think Jefferson's opportunities are just going to go up. And he might not have an explosion season like he did last year, but I think he could maintain those similar stats, especially if Thielen starts to go down. If they have Irv Smith, I know he's hyped up, but a lot of tight ends get hyped up and don't really do too much. So if he's not crazy with targets, I could see Jefferson just maintaining that stature that he has now. And if he does that, he's a wide receiver one.
Is he, how do I word this? Like double coverage proof? Like if Thielen falls off a cliff and there's nobody to kind of step up to that wide receiver 2 spot and teams start kind of double covering him, does that maybe lessen his production a bit? Do you think, or do you still think it doesn't matter what happens? He's still wide receiver one no matter what.
Well, to a sense, I don't think it matters too much. I think, look, teams are going to have to worry about Justin Jefferson, but a healthy Dalvin Cook teams are going to have to worry about just as much. So it's going to be difficult to see how they break down their defensive schemes. But I'm interested to see how they do that, especially if Thielen, let's just say this season, isn't much of a factor anymore. I think this season he still would be like a factor, but in the future, if he starts getting downhill, they don't have to worry about him too much, and they don't have much of a wide receiver 2 replacement. They still have Dalvin Cook back there, and Dalvin Cook was the RB1 last year. So, we'll just see what happens.
All right, and I guess one more point. I know Kellen Mond is there. Should they decide, maybe not this year, but should they decide, let's switch to Kellen Mond, do you think Jefferson's one of those QB-proof players that, again, the quarterback won't matter, he's still going to produce?
I don't know. I guess time will tell. From what I've seen last year from Jefferson, I think he has that factor in him that he's going to get his no matter what. If it's wide receiver 1 with a quarterback like Kellen Mond, I don't know about that. I think Kellen Mond is awful, but we'll see. I think he's quarterback proof to a sense, to a quarterback that is supposed to be in the NFL. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I don't think say what you want about Kellen Mond and what he's going to be, but if he sucks, they're just going to get a new guy the next year. So
exactly.
Mond's either going to be good and Jefferson will be fine, or they'll get him a replacement quarterback very quickly because it's only a third round QB Mond, maybe even fourth.
So,
I don't remember now.
Yeah,
I think fourth.
It was fourth. Look this up right now.
If he's good, then let's go for Jefferson. If he's bad, then
exactly 3rd round.
Yeah,
it was
so
3rd.
We'll see.
Of course.
We'll see. Hopefully, he's
Right.
good.
I mean,
for his sake.
nobody really had any hot takes there, which was I think expected. Sorry, I had to use the little boys' room. I drank like a gallon of water throughout this entire process. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty early tonight. Usually, this is around midnight when
we usually don't start early enough.
Yeah, we started relatively on.
We didn't have
true.
switch problems. Yeah. We didn't have. You know.
I also do want to outro this real quick. Again, if you watch us on YouTube, we appreciate it. Tune into the live stream. This is part of a live stream. We break things up into segments. We break different videos in the segments. What's that?
T-Pop 1993.
Oh, T-Pop 1993 is Twitch link. It's also the Twitter link. I do post on Twitter before we go live. But thank you guys for watching this video. Look at the channel. Click the other videos. See what we're about. We're not professional by any means, but we're pretty damn entertaining. And we give some good advice sometimes. So follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, like. Help the algorithm, man. You know how it goes. With that being said, we're out until next time. Check out the other fucking videos. See ya. All right, so now that I got that,
and we're still here again.
Yeah, and we're still here.
Stream. Thanks for still being here, stream.
And we're still here.
Yeah,
wow.
We appreciate you, everybody who's still here.
So hey, that is my number. My number 11. I was gonna hot take this, man, at number 10, but my number 11 is Jarvis Landry.
I don't agree. I can't get on board with that.
I don't like him as a wide receiver.
Not even the best wide. He's not even the best wide receiver on his team.
Oh, I think he's the best wide receiver on his team.
I couldn't disagree with you more.
I don't even think I have Odell in my top 24.
I mean, that I think is fair, but to have Landry as the number 11 dynasty wide receiver, I think that's a bit much for my take. I am a known.
If I'm
a known Jarvis Landry detractor. Al can attest to that. That goes years back. I just don't think he's like anything special. I think he's very athletic, but
if I'm drafting based on your rankings, give me like Donovan Peoples-Jones like way down the list over Landry at 11 or something. If I'm drafting,
I'd rather have Landry than Donovan Peoples-Jones, but
if I'm drafting on your rankings, I have to take the Browns receiver and with like a late pick over Landry at 11 is what I'm really saying.
Hold on.
I was struggling with a couple guys there to fit in number 10. We already talked about McLaurin. Chris Godwin was another guy. Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen. Those were pretty much the guys that were all in consideration for me for number 10, but I ultimately went with Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I think you looked at that core, and I think there was a bit of a noticeable drop off. I think Jamar Chase was my 11. But again, it was tough because just to put him in there because I haven't seen it yet, and then I'm sure next year he'll be there. But
my thing always with the rookies is when I know all the college stuff, but I can't put a guy in my own top 10 if I haven't seen them play it down in the NFL. And Jamar Chase might be again next year. He might be Justin Jefferson level. Who the hell knows? But
I think when I'm doing rankings with me is I just don't want to pick someone who's gonna lose value.
I get it.
So I think I generally, these guys, the like seasoned vets were still hanging around there, but it becomes tough for me. They're like once they end up in the same tier, but they end up like lower in the tier for me than the other guys, just because I'd rather have a guy that can have more value.
I also just think receivers are not their whatever, but they're more of like dime a dozen guys than as opposed to running backs. Like I know like the wide receivers on like this top 10 list are special guys, but I ultimately like there's just not a receiver that I would like overpay for, whereas there's running backs where I would.
Well, I think the difference is like the top guys.
That's just what plays into my rankings. Like give me like a Stephon Diggs that I can get for 3 years. Like I don't necessarily have to build my team. Like if I'm rebuilding and like a guy like Diggs might be good if it takes me 3 years to rebuild. Is like my type. Is like my reasoning. Whereas like a running back, I want these guys to be good now. Therefore, okay, sure, pump Derrick Henry up and pump like some of those older guys up on that list. But the receivers, they hang around longer, especially these top guys.
I'm trying to set something up here. I have kind of an idea, something I want to do. Just talk amongst yourselves. Hold on.
You know that Will Fuller
there's
was
one
the
dude. The Hawks
Fuller
won
was
too.
the
That's crazy.
wide receiver 7 on a points per game basis last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's crazy.
Got the field though. Well, that's what was it? Robert Woods was like I think wide receiver 14 or something like that, or he was pretty high.
Woods
up
was
there. I can't remember
19.
what it was. But he was still top 20. It's like I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, there's
just,
a couple.
like, thinking
Brandon
about
Cooks
it.
was wide receiver 17. Like, there's random guys that are always.
Brendan, too many cooks.
Yes.
Brendan, too many cooks.
Oh, look, look. Matt Barzal should have been suspended. 2 assists. Give me a fucking break.
I just don't care. Anyway, I'm done with hockey for the year. Anyway.
Until tomorrow's Montreal game.
Yeah, obviously. Les Habitants. Can anybody send me in the group me? What I'd like to do is a quick thing. I actually saw it today. I forgot on somewhere. Where they do like a faux team building type of thing. Where they go off ADP in a draft position. I can't find a Superflex one. I can only find just a Dynasty for single quarterback. If you guys don't mind doing that, I could just go off that because I have it in front of me. The one that I found for Superflex is you have to pay for it, and I'm certainly not doing that. So
I have that list because Phil pays for it.
Oh, you do? Is there any way you could send it to me?
I'll have
in the group meet or no?
I'll have to ask him because I don't even have the password.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. All right, so we'll just do. All right, so here's what I want to do briefly for those of you who are still with us. Thank you. For you guys who are still with us, thank you because you guys are obligated to be here. You're under contract.
What? I'm leaving.
Thanks again to
nope.
Twitch Be Bussin' for hanging out the whole time, even though he's shitting on me the whole time.
Yeah,
but I still
for real.
appreciate you in the chat.
You gotta respect it.
Hang around. Again. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a Dynasty startup, kind of like a faux mock draft here. I'm gonna give you guys. Give you guys each in like a range of. So we'll do like we'll start with just 2. We'll just say 2 rounds for now. Maybe we'll go 3.
I actually want to do 20.
I'll give you guys a.
Yeah, I'd like to
20. All right, fine. All right, we'll start it up. Let me get up. All right. Fuck it. Full 30. All right. So here's what we'll do. I will give you guys like a draft position, and we'll go in order. It'll be like a kind of like a snake draft, obviously. And I'll give you guys a couple of guys who go around that ADP and tell me who you take and why. Now, mind you, it is a 1 quarterback league, the Superflex one. I just can't find it. So we'll just go off 1 quarterback league. So,
Hold on.
We're essentially
find it.
So you're just gonna give us who we draft at like number 1 overall kind of shit.
I'm gonna give you guys like 2 or 3 people that are in that area, and just out of those people, who would you take in a startup, and maybe a brief thing why. I heard it a couple of days ago on some podcasts, and I kind of liked the idea of that, which was pretty cool. So I think I may have found one. Hold on.
Well, this could be another YouTube video.
Could be.
Yeah, multiple. I think I found one. Hold on.
Let me know when you do, so we could kind of start the video proper.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but the reason why I had to make that intro and outro the way I did was because we did not fucking start or end any segments.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Good thing I had Kyle, because he told
The
me
only
how to
thing.
edit.
Yeah, shout out to Kyle for
Everyone
editing the videos that are edited.
Everyone I keep seeing is like the 2 QB is like a redraft 2 QB as opposed to Dynasty, which is like a separate.
Yeah. Oh, Kills, what's up, Kills? How you doing?
How many rounds did you want to do, Dennis?
You can give me, I don't know, we could, at the most 4. I wouldn't go any farther than
I'm going to take
that.
some screenshots and put them in the group then.
Alright, so we'll
Give me a
go,
minute.
what we're going to do, yeah, for those of you who are joining us, again, we're going to do how to start up your mock draft for your Dynasty team. We are going to do Superflex because we somehow backdoored away into getting one because it seems to be next to impossible to finding one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assign each one of these guys some type of their pick. I'm going to give them a couple of options who they would pick. They'll explain why in that scenario. I'm going to try to space them out a little bit this way. And if I kind of like stumble over them. If you guys take one by accident, I'll try my best, but even still. All right. So at first, while Al's doing this, I'm going to give Thom the first pick. So if you want to intro the segment, do whatever you want. We're going to start with you here. So we're going to give you the 101. Obviously, people who are being taken in the 101 is pretty much Patrick Mahomes on itself. But guys near in the Superflex League are also going to be Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Who are you taking and why?
Yeah, so to start off this, I guess, 2021 mock Superflex Dynasty draft, I will go with Patrick Mahomes. I feel like that's a pretty self-explanatory home run pick.
Right. Yeah. No. Nothing really to be said after that. So, I'll go Bruce. Bruce, you're gonna have the 104 here. So, I'm gonna go 104. So now, guys being taken around that ADP: Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Christian McCaffrey. Who are you taking and why?
I mean, at 4, I'm probably taking Kyler Murray. I think he has the biggest upside as a passer, even in that Cliff Kingsbury offense. I mean, I like Lamar Jackson a lot, like Dak Prescott a lot, but I think Murray just has that little bit more value. Hasn't been injured. Yeah, give me some Kyler Murray at 1.04.
So, to myself here, I'm going to give myself the 8th pick. So, people being picked around that ballpark: Dak Prescott, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Trevor Lawrence. In that, if he's there, he might not be in real life because people might scoop them up depending on if somebody wants to take a swing at Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to go Dak Prescott just because I think Dak Prescott, it's kind of a no-brainer. I love the cast around him. Just obviously the injury scares you a bit, but I think he'll bounce back and be perfectly fine against Superflex League. Just want to grab the best available quarterback. And even though Trevor Lawrence could be a stud, I just rather would take the sure thing with Dak Prescott. So, Al, you have the 112, so it's going to come back to you. I'm going to the people being taken around there, relatively depending on the ADPs of these players are Trevor Lawrence, Saquon Barkley, Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow. Who do you like there at the 112?
I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence then. I'll just lock up the young quarterback who's pretty much a sure thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. So, too, you're going to also have the 201 here. So, again, guys going around there, same people. I'll throw in Saquon Barkley, Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow, Alvin Kamara.
Well, in that case, I'll take Joe Burrow. I just lock up my quarterbacks and not have to worry about it then. I have 2 young quarterbacks. I don't have to worry about the position for a long, long time.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think Trevor Lawrence falls that far, but just going off of ADP, he could. Maybe somebody doesn't really care for him as much. So back to me here with the 204 in the startup. Guys going around there relatively. So Joe Burrow's gone. So Russell Wilson probably will be there. Alvin Kamara, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown. I'm probably going to go, again, this one's a toughie. If he's there, I'm probably going to take Justin Jefferson and just really lock up for the next 10 years an elite wide receiver 1. Again, it seems kind of like a no-brainer there, but I know that Alvin Kamara is tempting, but if I'm kind of in this position where I am kind of on this come around, I really kind of want to grab the wide receiver there and go off that. So, Bruce, to you. And around that ADP, it's going to be guys like Tyreek Hill, Derrick Henry, DK Metcalf, Stephon Diggs. Who do you like there?
I'll just take the guy I named my wide receiver 1. I'll take DK Metcalf. Same reason. Lock up my receiver next 10 years.
All right. So rounding up that round, forgive me on this, Thom. It's going to be cut off. So it's around that ADP, around the 24th pick. You're looking at guys. Cam Akers, Devonta Adams, DeAndre Swift, and we'll say Justin Fields. I'll throw him in there as well. So who do you like?
Give me Devonta Adams there. I'm not the biggest fan of Akers or Swift this early, so I'll go Akers. I'll go Adams.
Adams.
I'm not the biggest fan, so I'll go him.
I don't really care for Adams. I'll go Adams. All right. So again, circling back to you to the third round here, Thom.
Yeah, what's up?
We're gonna go. Thom, still here? Hold on, let me just get it up here again.
Oh, get it
so
up.
So guys in that area, get it up. Yeah, I'm like Tampa. Anyway, so guys in this area, DeAndre Swift, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, Trey Lance.
Oh, I'm going Trey
Travis
Lance.
Kelce.
I'm going Trey Lance.
Travis Kelce. Trey Lance.
Still going Trey Lance. Yeah, I believe.
So
I believe in Trey Lance.
Who do you have so far? List them off. You have Adams, Trey Lance,
and Pat Mahomes. Yeah. So I locked up my QBs.
What a great quarterback combo.
Yeah.
It's not. All right, Bruce, to you. So in that ballpark, you are going to be Najee Harris, George Kittle, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Hurts. Man, Jalen Hurts is getting drafted really high.
That's why I picked him as my overrated man.
Yeah.
Ow.
Good
I
pick,
don't like
dude.
that at all.
So
again, Bruce, that's Najee Harris, George Kittle, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to lock up my second quarterback, I can't take Jalen Hurts this early. I agree. Man, it's a tough one. I'm gonna go
Jalen Hurts.
I'm just gonna take the guy that I'm just such a huge fan of. I'm taking George Kittle here. I know I'm passing on the running backs, but I just think I'll worry about it later, and I'll grab one of those top tight ends, so I again don't have to worry about the position later.
Right. All right. So then, to me here in that ballpark, you're looking at Joe Mixon, CeeDee Lamb, Calvin Ridley, Aaron Jones, Darren Waller, and I know CeeDee Lamb is staring me right in the face, and that might be a good pick, but I'm actually going to go Darren Waller, a guy that had more receptions or targets, I can't remember which one it is, than Travis Kelce did last year, and that offense kind of runs through him. And pretty much outside of Pitts, the last really high-end tight end, and I think that's essential to when you have a team, starting up a team. So, Al, to you, and around that same ballpark as you're looking at Aaron Jones, CEH, J.K. Dobbins, Zeke Elliott, Deshaun Watson.
All right, go over that list again.
One more time. Again, you're looking at Aaron Jones, CEH, J.K. Dobbins, Zeke Elliott, Deshaun Watson in that ballpark.
Oh man, that list sucks. You're
in the back of the second round now.
Yeah. Oh man. I think I'd go Deshaun Watson, to be honest. I know I already have two quarterbacks, but give me I'm swing for the fences pick here then. If he comes back and is a top 3 dynasty quarterback for the next 10 years, then Lawrence, Burrow, and Watson, I'm going to have a pretty valuable trade chip there.
So I think that's the right pick too. So again, coming back to you for we're in the fourth round now. We are going to go to you, Al. So in this area, you were looking at Zeke Elliott, I said Sean Watson, sorry. Matt Stafford, Kyle Pitts, Austin Eckler.
Give me Kyle Pitts. The way I'm building this team, I already took 3 quarterbacks. Just give me Kyle Pitts. I don't have to worry about tight end now for, most likely don't have to worry about tight end now for 10, 12 years. So.
All right. To me, in this area, you were looking at guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Tua Tagovailoa, Baker Mayfield, Jamar Chase, and who's the last one here? Wrong way. And Ryan Tannehill. It pains me to say this, but I'm going to take Baker Mayfield because I feel like, I have to do it. I love Tua, but I haven't seen it yet. Baker, I've seen it. It's a risk, though. He'll be out of the league in 2 years. So just be wary of that if you're drafting him. But
you're just hedging your bet.
Just hedging my bets, but I think Baker is the best pick there. So, Bruce, to you. So in this ballpark, you are looking at Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, Michael Thomas. Who do you like?
Out of this group, I'll take the guy that I did rank in my top 10 again. Based off that, I'll go with Michael Thomas here. Out of those guys, has the highest upside still.
All right. And then Thom, to you, you're looking at roughly Terry McLaurin, Matt Ryan, Javonte Williams, Kirk Cousins.
I'm probably going to go with Javonte Williams.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Terry McLaurin? That's interesting.
Yeah,
Why's
well,
that?
see,
Pray tell.
I'm just drafting my own team here, and I have no running backs, and I need a running back really bad. Also, I have the next pick, so I'll probably draft McLaurin there.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna end it there at 4. That actually didn't take as long as I thought it would.
I think we should keep going. Let me send you more. Do you have enough lists here for this? Still?
I need more because I am towards the end, and I'm just ballparking it. Like
That's
this
fine.
is
What did I
not
give
like
you up to? I
exact
gave you up
ADP.
to. Oh, you still got a little bit here, but yeah, you're running out. I gave you up to 72.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna assume, and unfairly so, just because I kind of want a little more content, that McLaurin is gone by that point. So let's go. So now you have the next pick. You're going Kirk Cousins, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs. You got there. And I'll even throw Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne.
Anthony strategy.
Yeah, I'm going with Anthony strategy.
All right, Bruce, to you for the next one. We're going to skip down a bit. We are looking at Mike Evans, Tom Brady, Mark Andrews, David Montgomery.
Man.
I'll throw Julio in there as well.
I need the second quarterback, but I can't take Tom Brady in a startup. Give me Mike Evans.
Interesting. Okay. You sent me more, Al? Yeah, there's more. Okay, I gotta try to find this last one now.
I'm writing down my roster.
What did I say?
No, that's what I'm doing.
I'm not.
I'm not, but I have a rough idea. So I will go. Where was it to me? Was it to me, right? Okay. So in that area, we're looking at Hawkinson, Higgins, Ayuk, Thielen, Carson. I am gonna go. I go Ayuk there. Just I think the talent, and Higgins was. Nope, I'm gonna go Higgins. I just changed my mind. So I'm gonna go T Higgins there, the youth. Then we go to Al. Roughly in this area, you're looking at Cortland Sutton, Carson Wentz, Daniel Jones, Bobby Trees.
Those choices and how I'm doing this team, I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. Just I already have 3 quarterbacks, and I don't want Robert Woods with how this roster is going. So I'll take Sutton because he still has a lot of time.
All right, coming back to you, Daniel Jones, Robert Woods, Kenny Galladay, Kareem Hunt.
Oh, that sucks. Can you give me like one more guy? What's the next one other guy on the list?
Myles Gaskin.
Okay. What was the list again then? Sorry.
You asked for it. Okay. Bobby Trees, Kenny Galladay, Kareem Hunt, Myles Gaskin.
I guess. Well, I just said I don't want Robert Woods, but I guess I'm going to take Robert Woods because I don't really want any of the other guys. So I'll take Robert Woods. It's just I'm not taking Kareem Hunt. I'm not taking a running back that's that old on my team right now. I'm not taking Myles Gaskin because he could be gone in a year. And actually, no, Kenny Galladay was on that list. I'll take Kenny Galladay. I'll switch to Kenny Galladay. Gives me a little bit more time.
For me, Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith, Derek Carr, Trey Sermon, and lastly, Derek Carr, Devonta Smith. I'm not even gonna think about that twice. Just Devonta Smith. Bruce, to you, we have Alice Goddard, Jameis Winston, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant.
And that list's gotta be Jerry Jeudy. I mean, again, I come back to I need that second quarterback, but at this point, I might as well just take the best talent on the board. Could be Jameis, but I don't know. Jerry Jeudy.
Haven't you seen Jameis's workout video?
Yeah, and his eyes are good too.
Yes, his eyes, his LASIK surgery.
All right, Thom, to you. We're gonna go Waddle, Lockett, off Chark.
Give me Waddle.
All right.
A lot of rookies on my squad.
Back to you.
Oh, Tom, you and me are in the same place, man.
Yeah.
I guess not a lot of rookies, but young team.
Have any of us taken a running back? I don't know.
I have not taken a running back.
No.
I've taken 2.
I haven't either. You have, yeah, but they're rookies, so I haven't either. That's quite interesting. There's a lot to learn here somewhere. So then here, we'll go for you on the come around here. Off Chark, Chanel, Bateman.
Okay. Give me Jared Goff.
That's the smart choice there. At this
Yeah.
point, grabbing another quarterback. Bruce, to you. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Mike Davis, Chase Edmonds, Michael Carter.
Second quarterback
Talk
is
about a
Ryan
running back in dead
Fitzpatrick.
zone. Talk about a running back in dead zone.
I know.
My friend.
I mean,
Pumped. Trade down.
I mean, right. That's probably what I would do at this point. But if I have to take somebody, I mean, just based on I don't like Chase Edmonds. I guess I'll go. Man, Mike Davis called my name, but I got to go younger. Give me Michael Carter. I think he's good on the Jets.
All right, this is the last
sheet.
sheet. This is the last sheet I have, and this is where I'm going to end it. So we're going to skip down a smidge to myself. Michael Gallup, Curtis Samuel, Irv Smith, J.R., and Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall for me. Yeah. Easy. Lastly, Roethlisberger, Brendan Too Many Cooks, Rojo, Rondell Moore.
Roethlisberger, Rojo, Rondell Moore, and Cooks. I guess I'll go Rondell Moore.
Okay, I think that's pretty much.
Now,
I think we all made 7 picks. I think we all made 7 picks.
Made 7, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what mine were off the top of my head. I'm sure on playback we'll know. But I think the interesting thing to take away from that is it seems like unintentionally we all kind of did a 0 RB strategy, unless you're Thom, who you kind of took higher upside, which is like a modified 0 RB.
I wouldn't say I'm doing 0 RB. I'm more just rebuilding. I'm immediately going into not competing, so I'll get my running backs in the rookie draft.
Right, and I think that's what we all kind of have the idea of, or even later, like, if I was later on in the draft and a Myles Gaskin had fallen to me or something like that, and I had a couple studs, it'd be like, why not? Give it a try. But it's interesting because it feels like right away the running backs just fell off a cliff. It really felt like you got to supplement with other things, and I just think highlighting that with like getting a good tight end is quite important. Getting your quarterbacks, your tight ends, wide receivers.
So with my roster, I wouldn't have wanted any of Kelsey, Kittle, Waller. I'm happy I got Pitts because they're not going to be useful to me for the 2 years. Like especially Kelsey, I'm not taking Kelsey with this roster, but Kittle and Waller too. Like by the time my team is good in 2 years, then Waller's going to be 31 and Kittle's going to be 29 or something like that. I don't remember exactly how old Kittle is, but he's somewhere around there. So maybe I'd consider Kittle, but Pitts just makes a lot of sense to me. I actually really like this roster, man. But just to recap mine, since I wrote mine down.
Yeah, I'll do mine after.
I have at quarterback Trevor Lawrence, at superflex Joe Burrow, on my bench Deshaun Watson. So holding on to him, I don't have to worry about. I'm not competing this year. We'll see what happens there. No running backs at wide receiver. I have Cortland Sutton, Kenny Galladay. I'll probably try to move Kenny Galladay if I had this league, and Rondell Moore, and then at tight end I have Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, solid. My roster is Patrick Mahomes, Superflex, either Trey Lance or Jared Goff. If Lance is starting, then it's him. Then the bench will be Goff. My running backs are Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne. My 2 wide receivers are Devontae Adams and Jalen Waddle.
Really like that roster so far, too.
So. Yeah, I don't remember what mine were. I know Dak's on there somewhere.
And Baker.
Baker.
Yeah, don't forget about Baker, dude.
Napping. You can't prove it. You literally can't prove it. Yeah, so I heard somebody. Go with Darren Waller. I know that. And I have Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson. Yeah, and others.
I think you got 6 of the 7 picks.
Yeah.
I had Murray, Kittle, and all receivers.
Yeah. I like I said, I think it's interesting to note, like, we all kind of had the same strategy for the most part there. Except some of us reached on a tight end, which I don't mind doing as long as it's within that top
If I don't
four.
have the ability to be trading in the startup like in this exercise, then this is probably what I'm doing. But I mean, in our startup, I moved up a bunch of picks. You know, I moved up into the first round to get Mahomes. I moved up into the first round again to get DeAndre Hopkins. You know, there's
if it's getting to some like wasteland of a position, I'm probably trying to trade up in a perfect world. But
I
again,
moved up like into the 7th or something to get Evan Ingram at one point. That's there's a bunch of other moves that I would have been making that maybe if I was trying for a competing roster would have changed. But if I don't have that ability, then this is kind of the way I think I'd go.
I mean, a startup is just like savvy trades and luck. That's really that's all it comes down to. If you hit on some dude in like round 20, like that's where you make your team.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have taken Watson. You know, I probably would have traded down and see if someone else wants to take the swing on Watson and just recoup some more picks there. So, but without trading, that makes sense.
But I mean, even in a dynasty league, if he plays like a year from now,
that's for sure,
steal. You know what I mean? It's not a bad pick. But and like lastly, I think I'll just say I think having like some form of strategy is like key to that, because at the same it might not fall exactly that way. You know, people might value people differently, but like don't go in there and just start taking people. Oh, I like this left and right. Just be like, this is what I'm going to do. If I don't like anybody, try to trade down. If not, just take the best player available. That type of thing. So. I don't have anything else. I don't know if you guys do. Thom, usually do your wrap up. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I mean, again,
wrap it up. Wrap that shit up.
If y'all are watching this on YouTube, thank you, first of all. Show some support. Subscribe, like, comment, help the algorithm out, man. Turn the post notifications on. Do the whole 9 yards for us.
Hi, everybody. It's Thom. Goodbye.